Good morning, dear friend. The sky is still painted in soft hues of lavender and gold. The air cool with the hush of early dawn. It is the kind of morning when time seems to pause, when the world holds its breath before it fully awakens. There is a sacred stillness in this hour, a silence that does not demand anything from you, but welcomes your weary soul just as it is. And perhaps that is exactly what you need right now. Not answers. Not solutions. Just space to breathe. Just enough quiet to feel again. Just enough hope to believe again. Maybe you woke up today with a heaviness pressing on your chest. Maybe your heart is tired from trying so hard to hold everything together. You have been strong for so long, and no one sees the weight you carry behind your quiet smiles. There is pain you have not named, fears you have not confessed, and grief you have not yet had the strength to unpack. You lie awake in the night, staring at the ceiling, asking questions that do not seem to have answers. You wonder if anyone notices, if God notices. There is a woman I once met who had been through more than most. Her home was quiet, but not peaceful. Her laughter had faded years ago. She was the kind of person who showed up for everyone else, but had no one to lean on when her world fell apart. One morning, she sat by her window and whispered just 4 words, simple but desperate. God, I need you. That was it. Not a long speech, not a polished prayer, just an honest cry from a tired heart. And it was enough, because heaven does not respond to perfection. It responds to sincerity. And that morning, something shifted. Not everything changed right away, but something inside her woke up. A small flicker of faith that whispered, "You are not alone." That whisper grew louder in the days that followed, not because her problems disappeared, but because her perspective did. She realized she did not have to fix everything. She just had to surrender it. This is what I want to invite you into this morning. A moment of surrender, a sacred pause before the noise of the world rushes in. You do not have to have it all figured out. You do not need to carry the weight of the past or predict the future. You only need to open your heart, just as you are, with whatever aches, questions, or longings you brought into this day. This is not about performance. This is not about religion. This is a conversation, a quiet, honest, holy conversation between your soul and the one who formed it. There is power in prayer, not just in the words we say, but in the posture of our hearts when we say them. There is strength in reaching beyond what we see and anchoring ourselves in something deeper. Someone greater. Faith does not remove all fear, but it gives you a place to rest in the middle of it. And when you pray, you are not whispering into the void. You are speaking to the one who knows every detail of your life and still chooses to love you endlessly. So as the light begins to rise outside your window and the world slowly stirs to life, let your spirit rise with it. Let this be the morning when you stop running, stop performing, and simply come home to the heart of God. You do not need to pretend. You do not need to impress. You only need to be willing to listen, willing to trust, willing to take one step closer to the one who has never taken his eyes off you. Are you ready? Dear friend, take a deep breath, quiet your thoughts, and let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning I come before you in the quiet, while the world still holds its breath. The light outside is only just beginning to touch the edges of the earth, and everything feels slow, still, uncertain. My heart is awake, but not fully alive yet. I am here, and I am tired, and I do not have many words to offer, only the truth of how I feel. It is hard to describe the heaviness that rests on my chest, or the weariness that lingers no matter how much I sleep. Something inside feels hollow, as if a part of me has been waiting too long for something I can quite name. And yet I still come, because even in the fog, I believe you are near. I do not come today with polished words or perfect prayers. I come with trembling hands and a soul that barely knows how to begin. But here I am. And I think that is enough. If you are who you say you are, then you already know everything I carry. You already hear the thoughts I have not spoken and see the tears I keep trying to hold back. So I do not need to pretend. I do not need to impress you. I only need to be honest, and in this moment, that honesty feels like all I have. There is something holy about this hour, something sacred in the stillness. Before the demands of the day chase after me, before I pick up the mask I wear for the world, I want to be real with you. I want to sit in this silence with you and let my heart breathe again. Because, truthfully, I have been holding my breath for far too long. I have been pushing through, performing, pretending, and in the process, I have forgotten what it feels like to rest in your presence. I have forgotten that I do not have to earn my way into your arms. You are already here, already listening, already waiting. So I let down the walls. I stop running. I exhale. I admit that I do not have it all together, and I stop trying to. I acknowledge that I am afraid of what is ahead, of what might not change, of the unknown. I feel like I am standing at the edge of something, but I do not know what. The road behind me has been filled with confusion, and the one ahead is clouded in mystery. But in this uncertain place, I reach for you. I ask you to meet me here, not in the parts of me that are polished and confident, but in the raw, trembling corners of my soul. I do not need you to fix everything in this moment. I do not need all the answers right now. I just need to know that I am not alone. I need to feel you draw near, not because I have earned it, but because you are good. And when I can see clearly, I will trust that you are still moving. When I can feel strong, I will trust that you are still holding me. When I can speak the words, I will trust that you still hear my silence. This morning, I ask you to receive this offering of honesty, not strength, not certainty, just truth. I feel like a cracked vessel, fragile and worn, but I believe that you see beauty in the broken. I believe that you meet people in their weakness, not after they have cleaned themselves up. So if I am broken, Let it be in your hands. If I am weary, let me collapse into your embrace. If I am lost, let me find myself again in the sound of your voice. There is something about the morning light that reminds me of grace. It does not rush. It does not shout. It just shows up, steady and quiet, spreading warmth where the night once lingered. I want that kind of grace to touch my soul. I want to feel the weight I carry begin to lift, even if only a little. I want to believe again that it is okay to start small, that I do not need to leap into faith. I can crawl, I can whisper, I can just breathe and still be held. You know the places inside me that ache. You know the memories that still sting, the dreams that feel too far gone, the fears I do not even have words for. You know the numbness I try to ignore and the tears I refuse to shed. But you also know the flicker of hope that still remains the part of me, still wants to believe that things can change, that breakthrough is still possible, that healing can still come, that even in this quiet and confusing place, you are doing something unseen but sacred. So I give you this beginning. I give you this breath. I give you this soft and silent part of the day when my defenses are low and my heart is open. I let you see it all, not just what I am proud of, but the things I hide, the parts I judge, the pieces I have called unworthy. And I ask you to meet me here, not in judgment, but in compassion, not in silence, but in intimacy. I believe you are not distant. I believe you are here, closer than the rising sun, closer than the beat of my heart. I do not need a dramatic sign. I only need the quiet assurance that you are with me in this place, that you hear me even now, that you hold me even when I do not feel it. And I will choose to believe that your presence is enough. I will choose to trust that even when I do not understand the path, you are still guiding my steps. I will choose to start this day not with anxiety, but with surrender, not with striving, but with stillness. This is my prayer in the dawn. This is my cry in the hush of morning. I do not know what today will bring, but I know that you go before me. I know that you are already in the details, already in the interruptions, already in the blessings and the burdens. I will not rush this moment. I will not skip over this stillness. I will stay here a little longer, in this sacred place where my heart meets yours, and everything that felt too heavy starts to feel a little lighter. Father, even as the light continues to rise outside and the stillness wraps around me, I find myself lingering in this space between silence and speech. I left off at surrender, but something inside still aches to be known more deeply, not with perfect sentences or rehearsed phrases, but in the rawness of emotion that barely forms words. This morning, I am not searching for eloquence. I am searching for connection, for the kind of closeness where I can simply be without needing to explain myself. You know the layers beneath what I say, the emotion that trembles in quiet places no one else sees. I feel like my soul is reaching out with hands too tired to lift. And yet I know you are already leaning in. There is something fragile about the way I am holding myself together. I wake up and go through the motions. I smile when I should. I answer when spoken to. But beneath the surface, there are cries that have never made it into words. Pain that has stayed locked behind carefully constructed walls. I do not even know how to begin speaking those things aloud. And maybe I do not have to. Maybe you understand what I cannot articulate. Maybe you can hear the prayer that comes from my breathless pauses and my tearful silence. Maybe this space, right now, is sacred not because I am speaking, but because I am showing up. God, I carry stories inside me that I have never told, fears that I have buried, disappointments that I have dressed in strength. But here, in your presence, I feel the invitation to unravel, not to fall apart in chaos, but to fall into the safety of your knowing. It is strange how the most painful things often have no words. A look that cut too deep, a season that drained everything from me, a loss that left a void too wide to fill. But even without words, I sense that you are not asking for explanations. You are simply asking for honesty. So I offer you this the one that has lingered too long and never settled. I offer you this sadness that does not always show, but lives quietly behind my eyes. I offer you these moments I keep replaying, trying to understand what went wrong, what I missed, what I could have done differently. I know you are not measuring my faith by how well I pretend to be okay. You see past my performance. You see into the trembling core of who I am. And still, you stay. Lord, I do not even know what I need sometimes. I just know I need you. I need something deeper than surface answers or temporary distractions. I need the kind of peace that sinks into the bones, the kind of hope that does not come from changing circumstances, but from being changed in the midst of them. I need to feel seen without having to be put together. I need to know that these tears are not wasted, that the heaviness I feel is not a sign of failure, but a part of the process of becoming. There is no shame in this weakness. I am learning that. There is no condemnation in this tired cry. You are not shaking your head in disappointment. You are not demanding I get it together. You are simply here, and your nearness is enough to make space for my voice, even when that voice shakes or goes silent. You understand the difference between absence and silence. Just because I can speak does not mean I am not reaching for you. Just because I am quiet does not mean I have given up. It means I am trusting that you hear more than words. Some mornings, prayer is a song. Other mornings, like this one, it is a sigh, a whispered exhale of all that I have carried for too long. And yet, I believe that even sighs rise like incense to your throne. Even the that has no name is sacred in your sight. You never ask me to dress up my grief before bringing it to you. You do not require me to translate it into something neat and tidy. You just say, "Come." And so I come not with answers, but with honesty, not with strength, but with surrender. I think about the nights when I cried without making a sound, and how you must have sat with me there. I think about the times I did not even know what to pray for, and yet you held my soul like a shepherd gathering a trembling lamb. You have never needed my perfection. You have only ever wanted my presence. And this morning, I offer that to you. I offer what I have. My breath, my tears, my desire to keep going even when I do not know the way. Lord, if I could speak everything inside me, I would. But I trust you to read what I cannot write, to interpret the weight behind every pause, to gather each tear like a treasure. This is not about how much I can express. It is about how fully I am known, even when I cannot explain myself. That truth brings comfort to places in me that have long remained untouched. I do not need to be loud to be heard. I do not need to be bold to be beloved. I do not need to be strong to be supported. And I do not need to have the right words to have the right heart. You listen anyway. You receive me anyway. You call me yours anyway. So here I am, still in the quiet of morning, offering you what remains. My unfinished thoughts, my silent tears, my tired questions. I do not know what you will do with them. I only know that nothing is wasted in your hands. Even this trembling, wordless cry becomes something holy when I place it before you. And I trust that you are near, not just listening, but feeling, not just watching, but understanding. You see me in a way no one else ever could, and that is enough for this moment. That is enough for this morning. That is enough for me to keep coming, again and again, until the words return or the weight lifts or the peace settles. Until then, I will remain here with you, Lord, even as I sit here in this sacred hush, surrounded by a quiet that only early morning seems to understand. My thoughts begin to stir. They shift gently from the silence I offered you to the questions I have buried beneath it. I want to stay still in trust, to rest in what cannot yet be explained. But there is a tender rising one I can no longer push down. It is the H of prayers I have whispered 1,000 times. Prayers that seemed to disappear into the sky. Prayers that felt like they fell flat before they could reach your heart. I do not want to accuse or demand. I just need to be honest. And the truth is, waiting without clarity has been harder than I expected. You know every cry I have offered. You have heard the same names I keep lifting. You have seen the same requests I have scribbled over and over in the pages of my journal. I have brought you these needs with trembling hope, and I have watched days, months, sometimes even years pass by without the shift I have longed for. And Lord, I have told myself you are still working. I have repeated the words that faith has taught me to say, but deep down, I feel the H of it. I feel the weariness that grows when it seems like the heavens are silent. And I need to bring that to you now, not to demand answers, but because carrying this H alone has become too heavy. There are parts of me that do not understand why some doors never opened, why some things I believed for never bloomed, why healing came for others and not for me, why peace still feels like a stranger in some corners of my life. I know you are good. I know you are faithful. But that knowing does not always quiet the longing. It does not always hush the questions that come in the dark when I think of what might have been. There is a kind of grief that lingers in the shadows of unanswered prayer, not the loud, overwhelming kind, but the quiet H of hope that kept showing up, only to sit in silence again. God, I am not here to blame you. I am here to trust you with the part of me that is afraid to hope again. I am here to admit that waiting has worn down my confidence, not in who you are, but in my place in your plan. I see others receiving what I have prayed for. And though I want to celebrate them, something stirs in me that whispers, "Why not me?" I feel ashamed even admitting that. I do not want jealousy to take root. I do not want comparison to cloud my heart. I just want to understand. I just want to know if you have forgotten, or if the silence has a purpose I cannot yet see. There are things I laid at your feet, things I believed you would move quickly on, because they were good, because they were holy, because they aligned with what I thought was right. But instead of miracles, I found delay. Instead of clarity, I walked into fog. And now I sit with these unanswered prayers like unopened letters still sealed, still waiting, still full of possibility and pain. I do not know if they will ever be answered the way I once imagined, but I want to believe that you are holding them even now, that you have not forgotten a single one, that even when I can trace your hand, your heart is still tender toward me. Lord, help me see the waiting not as punishment, but as preparation. Help me trust that delay is not denial, and silence is not absence. Remind me that some prayers are being answered in ways I cannot yet recognize. That maybe what I am asking for is not being ignored, is being reshaped. Perhaps you are not saying no. Perhaps you are saying not like this. Not now, but wait and see. Teach me to believe that even the H has value. That even this pain can produce something eternal. Sometimes I wonder if the prayers I whispered in weakness were enough. If you still listen when my voice is tired and my words trail off. But then I remember you are not a God who requires strength from me. You meet me in my weakness. You gather the fragments of my prayers and carry them like treasure. You bottle every tear, not one slipping past unnoticed. And when I feel I have run out of ways to pray, you intercede for me with groans deeper than language. You are not distant from this H. You are here, kneeling beside me in the waiting. I do not know how to explain what this longing feels like, except that it sits quietly in my chest like a familiar song that never fully resolves. But this morning, I want to offer that song to you. I want to believe that even in its incomplete melody, you still find beauty. I want to believe that you are composing something with my life that does not need to follow my timeline to be good, that there is a kind of miracle happening in me as I choose to trust you even in the delay. So I choose it again today. I choose to hope, not because I see the outcome, but because I see you. I choose to lay my questions at your feet, not because I have answers, but because I have faith that you are still good even when things do not feel good. I choose to keep praying, not because I feel strong, but because I believe in a God who responds even to the quietest cries. I may not have resolution yet, but I have revelation that you are not far, and that this waiting is not empty. You are shaping me here. You are still speaking, even when I do not hear it. Father, I surrender this Aish to you now, not to forget it, but to let it rest in hands more capable than mine. I surrender the timeline, the expectations, the outcomes. I release my grip on how I thought this would unfold. And instead, I place myself in the center of your will, trusting that even the waiting is wrapped in purpose. I do not need to rush the process. I do not need to see the end to be faithful in the middle. I just need to believe that you are with me, that you are for me, and that even here, especially here, you are working all things together for something more beautiful than I imagined. Even as my heart whispers old prayers again, I trust that you receive them fresh, as if for the first time, that you lean in with kindness and listen as though you have never heard them before. And that, perhaps, is the miracle I need today, not the immediate answer, but the constant assurance that I am never alone in the asking. God, if you are still listening, and I believe you are, then let me remain in this quiet just a little longer. The I offered you is still tender. The hopes I laid down are still raw. But something is beginning to shift, not the circumstances around me, not the questions I have carried, but something within. I sense it in the way my breathing slows, in the way my shoulders soften, in the way my heart, though still aching, feels just a little less alone. And maybe this is what surrender really looks like: not giving up, not walking away, but finally releasing what was never mine to hold so tightly in the first place. Father, I have been grasping for control in places where only you have authority. I have been trying to force peace into my chaos, as though my striving could manufacture stillness. But I see now that peace is not something I can create, it is something I receive. It comes not when I conquer every fear, but when I stop fighting you for control. I have worn myself out trying to fix, trying to understand, trying to predict. And still, nothing has brought the comfort that comes from simply letting go. So here I am. Open hands, tired heart, willing spirit. I surrender not because I am defeated, but because I am finally ready to trust. There is a kind of beauty in admitting I do not know what is next. It is freeing, in a strange and holy way, to stop pretending I have the map. Because maybe you never needed me to have answers. Maybe you just needed me to be willing to walk forward anyway. And as I sit with that thought, I feel something gentle rise within me. Not a roar of certainty, but a steady whisper of grace. A reminder that you are not rushed, that you are not waiting for me to get it together before you move. You are moving in this very moment, not around my surrender, but through it. Lord, help me release the illusion that I am supposed to carry it all. Help me loosen my grip on outcomes I cannot control and expectations that only burden me. Help me breathe deeper in this space where the noise has quieted and the soul can listen. I am learning, slowly, that silence is not a punishment, it is a posture. It is the place where I stop shouting my plans and start hearing your presence. It is where faith grows in the soil of stillness, where the striving ends and the trusting begins. This kind of surrender does not come easy for me. I have been taught to keep pushing, to keep proving, to never stop performing. But all that pushing has left me tired. All that proving has left me empty. And the truth is, I do not want to perform for you anymore. I want to be known by you. I want to be led, not just used. I want to sit with you, not just serve you. And I think this is where that begins, in the quiet laying down of all the things I thought made me worthy. In the still offering of the self you have already called beloved. There is something tender in this moment. Something honest. Something pure. I am not asking for anything right now. I am not building a case or presenting a list. I am simply being with you. And maybe that is enough. Maybe prayer is not always a request. Maybe sometimes it is just a resting place, a space where I can stop pretending and let my soul sink into the truth that you are God and I am not, and that is not a threat. It is a relief. You are capable where I am not. You are wise where I am confused. You are steady where I am shaken. Father, I lay down my resistance. I lay down my right to understand everything. I lay down the pride that says I must always be strong. I lay down the fear that whispers I am alone. And in place of all these things, I ask for a heart that can be still. A heart that is not frantic in the waiting or frantic in the doing, but quietly confident in who you are. I do not want to outrun your voice. I do not want to miss the subtle movements of your hand, because I was too busy chasing answers you never asked me to chase. I want to stay near enough to hear the whisper, still enough to notice the shift, open enough to be led wherever you go. This stillness feels unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable, like learning to walk again after running for so long. But I know that in this stillness, you are doing something sacred. You are mending the places I did not know were torn. You are untangling the knots I have tied in my spirit. You are breathing into places that have gone dry. And though I cannot see all that you are doing, I sense that something is being born here, not in the noise, but in the hush, not in the triumph, but in the trust. God, I confess that I have filled my life with noise, afraid of what I might hear in the silence. But now, I am learning to welcome it. I am learning to believe that silence is not absence, but invitation. An invitation to draw close, to sink deeper, to let go of the outer layers and be touched in the places I have tried to protect. And maybe it is here, in the stillness, that I will finally remember who I really am, not the version I present to the world, but the one you see when all the roles fall away. You see the child in me, the one who just wants to be held. The one who does not have to know everything to feel safe. The one who still believes that love can be enough. And I realize now, I have spent too long trying to be the strong one. The fixer. The one who never breaks. But in this stillness, I feel permission to let that go. To let you be the father I never have to impress. The healer I never have to perform for. The shepherd who leads even when I am too tired to walk. So I will sit here, in this sacred pause, and let you hold what I can't carry. Let you mend what I cannot fix. Let you speak where I have fallen silent. I do not need to fill this space with words. I do not need to fill this moment with plans. I only need to remain. To stay in the place where you are enough, even when I feel like I am not. This is not a place of giving up, it is a place of handing over, of laying it all down, not in despair, but in trust, of unclenching my fists and lifting open hands toward the only one who knows how to take what I cannot hold. And as I remain here, I begin to believe that surrender is not weakness. It is worship. It is saying with my whole being, I trust you more than I trust my understanding. I trust your pace more than my impatience. I trust your plan more than my panic, and in that trust, I find peace. Not the peace that comes from having everything figured out, but the peace that comes from knowing I do not have to. That is enough for now. That is more than enough. Father, as I sit here in the quiet, still wrapped in the gentle surrender that came before, something begins to stir within me, something older than the H, deeper than the questions. It is memory, not the kind that hurts, but the kind that holds, the kind that whispers, softly and surely, that I have seen you move before. I have heard your voice before. I have felt your comfort wrap around me in places I thought no light could reach. And that memory, though quiet, is strong. It nudges me not toward regret, but toward remembrance, the kind of remembrance that rebuilds trust when the present feels uncertain. God, you have never been absent. Not once. Even in moments I did not recognize your hand. You were there. When I look back, I can see it now, how you carried me through nights I did not think I would survive. How you opened doors I never could have pushed open on my own. How you placed the right people at the right time. Whispered the right word when I was ready to give up. Made a way where there was none. It did not always come how I expected, but it came, and it saved me. Shaped me. Softened me. There were seasons I thought would destroy me. Moments I thought would break me beyond repair. But somehow, I made it through, and now I know why. Because you never let go. Because your faithfulness is not a theory. It has been the ground beneath my feet, the air in my lungs, the light on mornings I did not believe would ever come. I may have doubted, but you remained. I may have wandered, but you pursued. I may have questioned everything, but you never questioned my worth. Lord, I remember the tears you met with silence that turned out to be protection. I remember the delays that frustrated me but ended up saving me from what I could not yet see. I remember the times I felt abandoned, only to discover you were rerouting me towards something better. And even now, as I think about all the ways you have shown up in my story, I feel my heart soften. I feel something sacred settle into place. It is not just nostalgia, it is the reawakening of trust. Not because I see what is ahead, but because I know who has been behind me all along. You have a history with me, and that history is holy, not because everything was easy, but because everything mattered. Because nothing was wasted, because even the hardest chapters became part of something redemptive. I see it now. The threads I did not understand being woven into something steady. I may not know what you are doing now, but I can remember what you have already done. And that memory becomes an anchor when the present feels like drifting. God, you have been my refuge in storms I did not ask for, my strength when I was too weak to stand, my voice when I could not find my own. You have been the whisper in my confusion, the hand in my loneliness, the fire in my emptiness. You did not always change the situation, but you always changed me in the middle of it. And is not that the greater miracle? Not just that the mountain moved, but that I became someone who could face it without fear. Sometimes I forget how far you have brought me. I focus so much on what has not happened yet. I lose sight of everything you have already done. But right now, in this stillness, I want to look back with gratitude. I want to trace the fingerprints of grace that have marked every chapter. I want to remember the little breakthroughs, the unexpected kindnesses, the moments of peace that carried me just far enough to take the next step. There were nights I did not think I would make it to the morning, but I did, and every sunrise since has been proof that you still have more for me. Every breath I take today is a reminder that you are not finished writing my story, that every battle, every bruise, every tear has become a testimony. I may not always recognize the miracle when I am living in it, but when I look back, I see it clearly. You have never stopped working. Even when I stopped believing, even when I lost my way, even when I gave up on the hope I used to carry. Lord, help me never forget the faithfulness behind me, even when the future feels uncertain. Help me draw strength from every answered prayer, every silent mercy, every unexpected rescue. Let my memory of your goodness become the soil where new faith can grow. When I feel overwhelmed, let me reach into the past not to relive the pain, but to reclaim the promise. You have done it before. You will do it again. Maybe not the same way, but with the same love, the same power, the same unshakable purpose. I do not need to know when or how or through whom. I just need to remember who you are, the one who parts seas and whispers to storms, the one who feeds the hungry soul and heals the brokenhearted, the one who leaves the 99 to chase the one who chased me down when I did not think I was worth finding. And that is the kind of God I can trust with what is still uncertain. That is the kind of God I can follow into the unknown. So today, I choose remembrance, not as a way of clinging to what was, but as a way of preparing for what will be. I choose to let memory become my foundation, not my prison. I choose to believe that the same God who was faithful then will be faithful now and always. Not because I feel it in this moment, because I have seen it again and again. Because you have proved it, not just once, but continually. With every breath I did not know I needed, with every grace I did not know how to ask for. This memory steadies me. It silences the panic, softens the fear, anchors the soul that still trembles in uncertainty. I carry it with me now not as baggage, but as blessing, as proof that I am not forgotten, that I am not unseen, that the God who held me before still holds me now. And if I forget again tomorrow, I pray you will remind me gently. Bring back to mind the moments I have buried, the victories I have overlooked, the mercies I have grown too used to. You have brought me through too much for me to doubt you now. So I will remember, and in remembering, I will rest. In that rest, I will find you again. Right here, right now, just as faithful as ever. Father, as I rest in the warmth of remembering your faithfulness, I cannot deny that even the comfort of the past does not completely shield me from the tension I feel today. There is something stretching inside me, some invisible thread being pulled taut on between what I have known and what I can yet see. I want to stay anchored in the memory of your goodness, but I also feel the strain of transition, the weight of things unraveling around me. It feels like the foundation is shifting, like what once held me steady is no longer enough. And that realization is both frightening and strangely freeing. Lord, I do not know what to do with this unraveling. It is not loud or chaotic. It is subtle, like quiet cracks in familiar walls, like doors that once swung open, now stuck in place, like dreams that once felt solid, now floating just beyond reach. It is hard to explain this kind of undoing, because on the outside, everything might still look the same. But inside, I feel the pull. I feel you tugging at the seams of my comfort, loosening the things I have clung to, not to harm me, but to make space for something new. I want to trust that this disassembly is holy, even if it feels like loss. There are parts of me I thought were permanent identities, roles, relationships, rhythms, and yet, one by one, they are shifting. Some have fallen away on their own. Others, I have felt you ask me to release. And though I have tried to hold on, I know now that grasping tighter only increases the ache. So I come to you, open-palmed again, asking for the courage to let go where I need to, and the discernment to hold on where you still call me to remain. This kind of transition is not tidy. It does not come with clarity or closure. It comes like a quiet breaking, a sacred interruption that does not wait for my understanding. God, I confess that I long for stability, for answers that do not shift, for certainty that feels solid beneath my feet. But I also know that you often build new foundations where the old ones have been torn up. You often lead through unfamiliar ground because that is where dependence grows. You are not asking me to pretend this is not hard. You are asking me to walk through it with honesty, with faith, with you. And so I do, even when each step feels unsure, even when my faith feels like a whisper, even when nothing around me looks like progress. There is something holy happening in this tension. Not the kind of hollowness that shines with ease, but the kind that digs deep in the dark places and begins to clear out what no longer belongs. I can feel you excavating me, gently removing the clutter I have collected, false security, misplaced identity, expectations that were never mine to carry. It is uncomfortable, yes, but it is also sacred. Because in this pulling apart, I sense that you are pulling me together in a new way, one I would not have chosen, but one that leads to wholeness I did not know I needed. Lord, help me see the unraveling not as the end of something good, but as the beginning of something truer. Help me believe that when things fall apart, it is often because they were never meant to hold me forever. Help me trust that the hands unraveling me are the same hands that knit me together in the first place. You are not careless. You are precise. And even when I feel like I am being undone, I trust that you are doing it with purpose. Nothing is wasted. Not the breaking, not the waiting, not even the wandering. I think about how a seed must be buried before it can bloom, how darkness must come before dawn, how death often precedes resurrection. And I wonder if this season, this strange, suspended place is not a sign of failure, but of becoming. Maybe what looks like the end is really a preparation. Maybe what feels like loss is a clearing for something more beautiful to grow. I do not need to know the outcome. I just need to keep showing up. heart open, hands empty, soul willing. God, if you are allowing this unraveling, then I trust you are also preparing something to be woven in its place. Something stronger, something deeper, something that cannot be shaken. I ask you to help me endure this in between with grace, not just to survive it, but to be changed by it. Let this tension teach me how to live without fear of what I do not understand. Let it build resilience in me, not the hard kind that closes off, but the soft kind that still hopes, still believes, still yields. There are days when the weight of uncertainty feels heavier than hope, when the thought of letting go feels more terrifying than staying stuck. But I know you are calling me to trust the process even when it feels slow, to lean into the stretch even when it feels unnatural, to rest in the unraveling, knowing that you are near. You are not asking for perfection. You are asking for presence, and I offer mine, shaky though it may be. Even now, I feel you working beneath the surface, not in flashes of lightning or dramatic displays, but in the quiet persistence of grace. You are rearranging things I did not even know were misaligned. You are shifting the atmosphere of my soul, moving me from one season to another with care and intention. I am not falling apart. I am being made new. Slowly, quietly, faithfully. Lord, remind me that the in-between is not a place of punishment. It is a place of preparation. It is the womb of transformation, the space where identity is refined, where faith is redefined, where strength is reborn. And though it may feel messy and unclear, you are not confused. You see the full picture. You know what you are doing. You are not rushed. You are not guessing. You are building something eternal in the spaces where everything temporary is crumbling. So I will not fear the unraveling. I will not despise the tension. I will not panic in the stretch. I will remain here, open to the work you are doing, believing that what feels like being pulled apart is actually the beginning of being pulled together in the image you always intended. And in this holy discomfort, I will stay near, heart laid bare, spirit quiet, soul surrendered, because even here, especially here, I am in your hands. Father, in this place where everything familiar has been shaken and redefined, I realize that what you are forming in me is not about instant answers or visible signs. It is something deeper, something slower, something that asks me to continue even when I feel forgotten, to keep believing even when I see no breakthrough. I am learning that faith is not always loud or bright. Sometimes it is quiet, steady, and unseen. Sometimes it looks like waking up again after a restless night, showing up in prayer when I feel dry, offering praise when I feel hollow. Sometimes it looks like staying. Lord, I confess there is a part of me that longs for the reward, the evidence that my obedience matters, the sign that what I am doing is making a difference. I want to see the fruit of my faith. I want to feel the impact of my surrender. But what if this season is not about reward at all? What if it is about something stronger? Something eternal. What if you are teaching me to love you not for what you give, but simply for who you are? That question humbles me. It unsettles my expectations. Yet at the same time, it steadies my soul. God, help me to remain faithful when everything feels unrewarded. Help me to stay present in the places that feel unseen. Let my heart be anchored in you, not in outcomes, not in applause, not in recognition. Teach me to serve when no one is watching, to believe when there is no sign, to give without expecting anything in return. Let my faith be purified in this space, not weakened by lack, but strengthened through endurance. Let it become a fire that does not need fuel from circumstances, but burns because it is rooted in truth. I think of the times I lifted my voice in worship, when all I could feel was the silence pressing back. I think of the days I whispered your name through gritted teeth because hope felt like a stranger. I think of how often I have chosen to speak life, even when my own soul felt like it was gasping for breath. And still, I kept going. And still, I showed up. And in those moments, perhaps more than any others, I was truly worshiping you not with feelings, but with faith, not with abundance, but with loyalty. Lord, let my worship not be shaped by what I feel, but who I know you to be. Let my prayers rise not because I see results, but because I refuse to walk away from the one who has never walked away from me. I do not want a faith that fades when things are hard. I want a faith that deepens, a faith that can stand in the storm and still sing, a faith that keeps walking through the valley because it remembers the shepherd walks with me. You are worthy of my devotion even when I feel dry. You are deserving of my love even when I do not feel lifted. Your goodness does not depend on my mood. And though this season may not be marked by miracles or dramatic change, I know that something is happening. Something real. Something lasting. You are forming endurance in me. You are stretching my capacity. You are building a foundation that will not crumble with the next wave. God, I ask you to strengthen me to keep showing up for what no one else sees. Strengthen me to keep planting seeds, even when I do not know when or if they will bloom. Strengthen me to keep saying yes in private when the world offers no applause. You see it all. You see the faithfulness no one celebrates. You see the prayers whispered in the dark. You see the sacrifices that go unnoticed. And you smile, because you know what those quiet acts of faith are becoming. They are becoming a life that is unshackable. This is not glamorous. It is not flashy. It does not feel exciting. But I believe you are just as present in these mundane moments as you are in the miraculous ones. I believe that staying faithful in the quiet builds something stronger than chasing after every moment that feels significant. Because you are in the ordinary, too. You are in the rhythm of showing up, in the daily yes, in the unseen acts of obedience that form the truest parts of who I am. I do not want a faith that demands signs. I want a faith that remains when signs disappear. I want to be the kind of follower who trusts your heart, even when I can see your hand. The kind who keeps walking not because I know where the road leads, but because I trust the one who leads me. Even if no door opens today, even if no healing comes in the way I imagined, even if I never see the answer I prayed for, I still choose you. Father, I know you are not measuring my value by my success. You are looking for surrender. You are not seeking performance. You are seeking presence. So here I am again, not to impress you, but to invite you into my waiting, into my work, into my weakness. I want to learn how to stay close when the feelings fade. I want to grow roots that go deep, even when there is no applause or validation. I want my yes to mean something, even if it is whispered in an empty room. Lord, let me not confuse fruit with favor. Let me not assume that silence means absence. Let me not mistake the slow pace of your hand for indifference. You are always moving, always shaping, always working, even when I cannot see it, even when I cannot feel it. And so, I surrender again, not to the outcome, but to the process, not to the promise fulfilled, but to the promise giver. In this space, where nothing looks like progress, you are teaching me what it means to endure, to keep showing up with an open heart, to keep loving without conditions, to keep praying without demand, to keep believing without proof, because you are worthy, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And I want my life to declare that, even in the silence, especially in the silence, let this be the offering that rises from my soul today, not the cry for more, but the declaration that you are enough. Let my hands stay open. Let my heart remain soft. Let my feet be planted, even in uncertainty. Let me worship you with the kind of a devotion that does not waver when the rewards are delayed. Because this, right here, is the kind of faith that endures, and it is the kind of faith I want to carry forward. One step, one breath, one prayer at a time. Father, as I linger in this moment of quiet commitment, where I have chosen to trust you without reward, I must confess that trust is not always steady. Even now, as my heart leans into you, there are moments when my grip feels weak. There are days when holding on does not feel brave, just exhausting. My hands tremble not from rebellion, but from weariness. And in those moments, I wonder if I will be able to keep going. But maybe faith was never about strength in the hands. Maybe it was always about refusing to let go, even when the holding hurts. Lord, you know how many times I have held on all while everything around me fell apart. You have seen me gripping your promises with fingers too tired to close. You have watched me stand when all I wanted to do was fall. You have heard the prayers I whispered, not in confidence, but in desperation. And through all of it, you never left. You did not wait for me to be composed. You did not require me to be brave. You stayed through the trembling, through the shaking, through the moments when my prayers sounded more like whimpers than declarations. I think sometimes I confuse faith with fearlessness. I think that if I am afraid, I must not be trusting you enough. But here, in this soft morning light, I sense you reminding me that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to keep reaching through it. And even when I do not feel courageous, you see the act of holding on as sacred. You honor the fragile grip. You count the effort, not just the outcome. You meet me in the trembling, and you stay, God. It is in the moments when I feel most fragile that I realize how deeply I need you, not as an idea, but as breath itself. When my strength runs out, when my confidence falters, when my resolve slips, you become the only thing keeping me upright. And maybe that is what you have wanted all along, not a faith that pretends to be strong, but one that clings honestly, openly, unashamedly. I am not ashamed of my shaking hands anymore, because even shaking hands can reach for you. There have been seasons when I thought I had to prove my devotion with bold declarations, loud prayers, powerful displays of confidence. But now I know that some of the most powerful acts of faith are quiet. Some of the most meaningful prayers are whispered through tears. And some of the deepest trust is shown in the moments when I stay, even when I feel like running. So I stay, not because it is easy, but because you are here. Lord, there is a part of me that still aches for resolution, for the storm to calm, for the healing to come, for the tension to lift. And while I continue to believe that you are the God who makes all things new, I also know that sometimes you sit with me in the storm before you still it. Sometimes you hold my hand before you open the door. Sometimes you strengthen my legs before you move the mountain. And in all of it, you are good. Let my trembling not be a source of shame, but a reminder that I am human and still being shaped. Let it draw me deeper into the truth that I was never meant to walk this journey alone. You are my strength when mine runs out. You are my stability when I feel unstable. You are the one who catches me when I stumble and speaks peace over my anxious soul. You know the way even when I do not. You are the compass when my heart loses direction. God, sometimes it is the fear of falling that makes me hold on tighter. And yet, I know that even if I slip, even if I loosen my grip, you are still holding me. My salvation was never about how strong I could hold on to you. It has always been about how faithfully you hold on to me. That truth brings rest to the part of me that still feels like I need to earn your nearness. I do not. You are already here. You are not measuring my hands, you are looking at my heart. So I offer you my unsteady heart today. I offer you the part of me that is exhausted from waiting, the part that questions its own endurance, the part that wonders if hope is still worth carrying. I lay it before you with honesty, and in return, I ask not for answers, but for presence, not for perfect strength, but for peace that meets me where I am. I do not need you to fix everything in this moment. I just need you to remind me that I am not forgotten. There is something powerful about the fact that you see every tremble, every hesitation, and you still call me beloved. You do not recoil from my weakness. You draw closer to it. You do not scold me for the shaking, you steady me in it. You place your hand over mine and remind me that my identity is not found in how well I perform, but in how fully I am known. And you know me, all of me, and you stay. Lord, as I move forward into this day, I ask for grace, grace to walk slowly, grace to breathe deeply, grace to speak gently to myself when my faith feels fragile. Let me not rush to escape the shaking, but instead let me lean into what you are forming in the middle of it. Teach me that the cracks are not signs of failure, They are space for light to enter. They are reminders that I am not meant to be unbreakable. I am meant to be held. Give me eyes to see the sacredness in small faith, in taking one more step when I feel stuck, in whispering one more prayer when I feel spent, in choosing again to believe that you are working, even when I can trace the line. Let my life be a testimony, not of uninterrupted strength, but of relentless return, of reaching again and again, no matter how tired I am, because you are always worth reaching for. Father, let today be a day where I honor the fight to remain. Let me not dismiss the power of my presence here in this moment, even if it is quiet, even if it is messy, even if it is far from triumphant. You see it all, and you call it worship. You receive it as holy, and that is enough for me. I do not need to feel strong to be faithful. I only need to stay, to breathe, to believe, and to remember that even when my hands shake, I am still in your hands. Father, now that I have allowed myself to be honest about the trembling, now that I have found enough courage to stay even when staying felt like the hardest thing, I begin to notice something shifting beneath the surface. The trembling has not fully stopped, but it no longer feels like a sign of failure. It feels like the stretching before something new. There is a tension in the air, not the kind that crushes, but the kind that signals something is about to break open. And I find myself caught between fear and anticipation, standing in the strange space where everything feels like could tip at any moment. Lord, there is a weight here, yes, but also a quiet intensity. I can sense you are near, not just as comfort now, but as preparation. You are drawing something out of me that I did not know I carried. There is a deep pull in my spirit, like the drawing of a bow before the release. It is uncomfortable. It is uncertain. And yet, somewhere deep inside, I recognize this space. It is the moment before change, the stillness before the wave, the pressure before the breakthrough. God, I am learning that this tension is not the absence of progress. It is the evidence of something forming. You do not always move in flashes of light or part seas in dramatic ways. Sometimes, you move in the invisible, in the build-up, in the pressing. You apply just enough resistance to build endurance, just enough weight to reveal what is real in me. And in this moment, as I sit with this pressure that stretches me in every direction, I feel you asking me not to flee, not to fear, but to lean in. Help me, Lord, not to mislabel this moment. Help me not to call it punishment when it is really preparation. Help me not to call it delay when it is divine timing. There is a part of me that wants to rush past this part of the journey, to push through it or escape it entirely. But I know you are doing something in the waiting, in the holding, in the pressing. And I do not want to miss it. I do not want to come out of this too soon and forfeit what you are building in me. I do not understand all of it, but I can feel it. I can feel that the pressure is not meaningless, that you are not allowing it to destroy me, but to refine me. Like gold in the fire, like oil pressed from the olive, like the arrow pulled back so it can soar forward. You are using this season to forge something eternal. Something unshakable, something holy. I thought the breakthrough would look like escape, but now I wonder if it will come through endurance. If the miracle will be that I stayed long enough to see what you were doing all along. Father, let this tension teach me. Let it show me what faith really means, not just to believe in the outcome, but believe in the process. Not just to declare victory, but to walk steadily through the battle. I do not want a shallow trust that depends on signs. I want a deep, anchored faith that holds firm in the in-between. Let this pressure stretch my capacity for trust. Let it reveal the roots I did not know were there. Let it produce something lasting. I am realizing that what you are doing in me is more than just about what you will eventually do for me. You are not just preparing blessings. You are preparing me. You are growing my ability to carry what is coming. You are clearing out the clutter, the fear, the doubt, the pride that would only weigh down what you are about to release. And maybe the reason it feels so tight is because you are expanding me, not to hurt me, but to make room for something greater. Lord, let me not shrink back in this season. Let me not try to lessen the tension by numbing myself or turning away. Let me press in not with striving, but with surrender. Let me sit here, in this stretching, and say, do in me what needs to be done, even if I do not understand it, even if I can see the end of it, even if everything in me wants to move on. I trust that you are faithful not only in the outcome, but also in the middle. And this moment right now, this sacred, silent tension, it matters to you. Sometimes I want you to take the tension away. But today, I ask for something different. I ask you to meet me in it. To remind me that the pressure is not punishment, that the strain is not a sign that I am lost, but that I am being aligned, that you have not abandoned me here, but are closer than ever, guiding every unseen detail. If the turnaround requires this kind of stretch, then so be it. Just do not let me walk away before the shift comes. There is a holy weight in this place. It holds me in stillness, but also in promise, a sense that something is building. Even if I can name it yet, that your hand is behind the scenes, setting things into motion that my eyes can yet perceive. And so I wait, not with passivity, but with active trust. I wait with hope in my chest, even if my hands are still shaking. I wait with the understanding that tension is a sign of life, of growth, of something about to be born. Father, let this tension be the soil where transformation takes root. Let it become sacred ground. Let it be the place where I look back and say, this is where it started to turn. I do not want to despise this moment. I want to honor it. I want to mark it as holy, because I believe that when the tension is at its highest, when the stretch feels unbearable, when the quiet feels the loudest, that is when you are closest to release. So I stay here, in this pressure, not because it is easy, because I trust that you are using it. I want to fight the stretch. I want rush the process. I want to curse the in-between. I will breathe. I will trust. I will believe that what you began you will finish, that the tension I feel is not the end, but the moment before the shift, The moment where everything hidden begins to take form. The moment where faith moves from something I carry to something that carries me. And when the pressure finally lifts, when the arrow is finally released, when the breakthrough breaks through, I will remember this place. I will remember that before the momentum came the resistance, before the clarity came the confusion, before the opening came the stretch. And I will give thanks not just for the miracle, but for the making, not just for the outcome, but for the shaping, not just for the flight, but for the pull that came before, because it all mattered, and you were in every moment. Father, as I sit with the weight of the tension still fresh in my soul, something deeper begins to come to the surface. I sense you drawing my heart into a quieter realization, one that does not arrive with fanfare or dramatic clarity, but with a gentle invitation to examine what I am still holding on to. I have prayed for breakthrough. I have pleaded for transformation. I have waited in surrender. But now I feel you asking me to look honestly at the things I keep reaching. When the pressure rises, the familiar patterns, the comfortable rhythms, the old ways that once gave me a false sense of control. Lord, it is easier than I want to admit. When life becomes uncertain, I find myself retreating to what once soothed me, even if it no longer serves me. I go back to old mindsets, to protective walls I have worked so hard to tear down. I try to regain my footing in habits that feel safe, even when they have long since stopped being life-giving. I crave stability, even when that stability is built on shadows. I long for familiarity, even when that familiarity kept me small. And in this morning light, I see it more clearly. Sometimes the enemy of the new you are birthing is not fear or failure. Sometimes it is comfort. God, I want to move forward, but part of me is still anchored to what used to work. The problem is that what used to work is no longer aligned with where you are taking me. The old supports, the former rhythms, the versions of myself I outgrew, they can come with me into this next season. I feel you asking me to release them, not out of shame, but out of trust, to stop patching up the past and start planting for the future. To believe that discomfort is not a curse, it is a doorway. Let me not romanticize what once restrained me. Let me not glamorize what held me back. There were places I once called home that were actually holding cells. There were thoughts I once believed that never reflected your truth. And though they gave me a kind of safety, they also kept me from becoming who you intended me to be. I am learning that deliverance does not always feel like liberation at first. Sometimes it feels like disorientation, like losing the landmarks I used to rely on. But maybe losing those landmarks is the only way I will finally follow your voice without leaning on what I have built for myself. Lord, tear down the idols I did not know I had, the ones I built with good intentions, the ones shaped from fear and wrapped in self-preservation. Pull them down gently if you will, but pull them down completely. I do not want anything in my life, no belief, no behavior, no attachment to stand in the way of what you are doing. I do not want to be stuck worshiping the way things were. I want to make room for what could be. There is a strange grief that comes with leaving old comforts behind. It does not mean I want to go back, but it does mean I am still human. I feel the loss of what once gave me identity. I feel the echo of what used to be easy, but I also feel the pull of something more honest, something more whole. You are not just calling me out of something. You are calling me into something better. You are inviting me to trade comfort for purpose, predictability for peace, control for communion. And that is a trade I want to make, even if it costs me familiarity. God, give me courage to walk forward when the road is unfamiliar. Give me discernment to recognize what is holding me back, even if it is subtle. Give me eyes to see what I have been clinging to that can't withstand the weight of what you are building in me. Give me the faith to believe that what you are preparing is worth letting go of what I have outgrown. I do not want to spend another season maintaining what you are asking me to move beyond. Help me to break the cycle that keeps me circling the same mountains. Help me to stop decorating prisons you have already opened the door to. Let me not return to what you have freed me from, just because it feels easier than stepping into the unknown. The wilderness may be wild, but it is also where you speak. The unknown may feel risky, but it is where I learn to rely on you not just as a savior, but as a guide, a sustainer, a friend. Lord, I know now that some of my old comforts were never really comforting. They only distracted me. They numbed me. They kept me from feeling the full weight of the emptiness that only you could fill. But I do not want to be numb anymore. I want to feel. I want to live fully awake, even if that means feeling the sting of loss, the awkwardness of growth, the ache of waiting. I want to live with open hands, not clenched fists. I want to walk in freedom, not in familiar chains. So I lay these comforts down not out of duty, but out of desire. The desire to be free, the desire to grow, the desire to know you in ways I have never known you before. I am done running back to what does not nourish me. I am done building altars to what no longer feeds my soul. I want to be free not just from sin, but from smallness, from cycles, from stale patterns that kept me surviving when you created me to thrive. Father, I give you permission to interrupt whatever needs to be undone in me, even if it means shaking up what I once depended on, even if it means walking through a season of unfamiliar ground, because if it brings me closer to you, if it makes me more like you, then is worth it. I am tired of negotiating with the things that are slowly draining my spirit. I am tired of settling for less, because it is easier than trusting you for more. I am ready to be refined. You have shown me that comfort is not always kindness, and growth is not always graceful. But through it all, you are patient. You are steady. You walk with me at a pace that allows me to release what I need to without losing sight of your presence. I am not being forced out, I am being led. And I will follow, even if it means leaving behind every illusion of safety I once built around myself. Let this be the moment where I draw the line between what was and what will be. Let this be the space where I no longer cling to what limits me. Let this be the start of something holy, even if it feels uncertain. I trust that whatever I let go of, you will replace with something greater. Not necessarily easier, but deeper. Not necessarily louder, but truer. Something real. Something that lasts. Something only you can give. So here I am again, Father, open, yielded, ready, even if my knees still shake, even if part of me still mourns the comfort I am leaving behind. I know you are not asking me to walk away empty. You are asking me to make room for fullness. And I want that more than anything. I want to be formed, not just freed. I want to be remade, not just released. And I want to walk boldly into the unfamiliar, knowing that wherever you are leading me, it is always better than where I have been. Father, after letting go of the comforts I once clung to, there is a stillness now, one that feels wider than I expected. It is not loud or threatening, but it echoes in ways I did not prepare for. The familiar voices have grown quieter. The support systems I used to lean on are no longer as close. The paths I once walked with others now seem less traveled. There is a loneliness here that I can deny, a kind of sacred isolation that wraps around me, not to punish me, but to pull me deeper. And I know, even as I feel the absence of many things, that I am not abandoned. I am being invited into something more intimate than before. Lord, this space feels strange. I am used to surrounding myself with people, tasks, distractions, things that kept me moving, things that filled the silence. But now, in the absence of all those things, I feel the weight of what remains. It is just me and you. And though my heart has longed for closeness with you, I did not know it would come like this, not in the crowd, but in the quiet, not in celebration, but in solitude. Not surrounded, but set apart. I want to pretend that it is easy. There are days when I feel left behind, when it seems like the world is moving forward without me. There are moments when I wonder if I did something wrong to end up in this season of separation. But deep down, I sense the truth. It is not punishment. It is preparation. You are not pushing me away. You are pulling me aside. And this isolation, though uncomfortable, is holy, because it strips away every voice but yours, God. I think about the times I have filled my days with noise, so I would not have to face what was inside. The way I have depended on affirmation from others to validate my journey. The way I have measured my worth by connection, by applause, by being included. But now, with all of that pulled back, I see what is left. I see what matters. And it is you. It has always been you, in this quiet space where no one else sees. You are forming something sacred. You are speaking in ways I never would have heard unless everything else was silenced. There is a different kind of closeness being built here. One that does not need explanation. One that does not rely on external confirmation. One that is not shaken by rejection or distance or delay. It is a closeness that is born in stillness and strengthened in solitude. And even though I long to be understood by others, I am beginning to find comfort in being fully known by you. Lord, help me to embrace this season of isolation not as exile, but as encounter. Help me to stop reaching back for what you have called me away from, and instead lean into the nearness of your presence. Teach me how to be content with you alone, not because I do not need people, because no person can take the place of intimacy with you. Let this be the season where our relationship goes deeper than ever before, not just in moments of desperation, but in the dailiness of silence, in the discipline of stillness, in the beauty of simply being with you without striving. I admit there are days when I miss what I once had. I miss the laughter, the familiarity, the sense of belonging, but I also know that I cannot return to what no longer fits. The connection I need now is not shallow, it is sacred. It is not found in being known by many, but in being loved fully by the one who sees it all. This is not about isolation for its own sake. It is about intimacy, about knowing you beyond the crowd, beyond the performance, beyond the routine. Father, when the silence feels like a void, remind me that it is a vessel for your voice, a space for revelation, a room where clarity can rise from stillness. You are not wasting this season. You are using it to realign me, to remind me that my foundation is not built on social validation, but on spiritual communion, that when the noise fades and the faces change, you remain steady, present, enough. Let me not resent the distance I feel from others, but instead draw closer to the nearness I have with you. Let me not fear solitude, but discover in it the strength to be alone without being lonely. Let me find in this space the reminder that I was made first and foremost for communion with you. That before the mission, before the ministry, before the relationships and roles, I was made for intimacy with my Creator, God. I know that you do some of your deepest work in hidden places, that the roots of faith are often grown in secret, away from the spotlight, far from applause. And maybe that is what you are doing now, deepening my roots, anchoring my soul, teaching me to drink from wells that do not run dry, because what you are building in me needs to last. And that kind of endurance is not formed in comfort, but in consecration. So I won't rush this. I won't fight to fill the space with what used to be. I won't force connections just to feel seen. Instead, I will sit here. I will breathe here. I will let this solitude shape me. Let it sift me. Let it teach me how to be fully present with you. Because the truth is, even in isolation, I am never alone. You are in the silence. You are in the waiting. You are in the stillness. And your presence is not lesser here, it is louder, clearer, closer. Lord, give me peace in the hidden places. Give me joy that does not require a witness. Give me faith that does not need to be confirmed by those around me. Let this season refine me, not define me. Let it draw me out of dependence on the world and into deeper dependence on you. Let it reframe my understanding of success not as being seen, but as being known, not as being followed, but as following you, even when no one else sees the path. And when the time comes to step back into the open, into connection, into community, let me carry this intimacy with me. Let me bring the strength I found in silence. Let me pour out from the well that was filled in the hidden place. Let me walk forward with a soul no longer afraid of being alone. Because I have learned how to dwell with you, how to listen, how to rest, how to know that I am loved, even when the room is empty. This space, though quiet, is not void of life. It is full of revelation, full of realignment, full of healing, and I will cherish it for what it is: a sanctuary, a meeting place, a sacred pause in a world that never stops moving. Because you are not asking me to escape this space. You are asking me to enter it more fully and find you waiting there. And you are always worth finding, always worth staying for, always enough. Father, even as the silence continues, I begin to notice something I had not seen before. Beneath the stillness, there is movement, not loud or showy, not the kind that draws attention, but slow and certain, like roots pressing deeper into the soil. I thought this quiet season would feel empty. But instead, I sense that you are building something within me, a quiet faith that no storm can uproot, a steady trust that is not swayed by applause or rejection. Something holy is taking shape in this hidden place, and I realize now that I am being formed. Not forgotten. Lord, what I used to call waiting now feels more like growing. What I once mistook for delay is starting to feel like design. It is not that you are standing far off, watching me wander. It is that you are near, hands deep in the clay, shaping me from within. This is the work I never asked for but desperately need, not the visible kind that gets celebrated, but the invisible kind that sustains me when everything else shakes, the kind that cannot be undone by circumstances, because it is anchored in communion with you. God, I look back and see how often I prayed for strength, not knowing that you would answer by stripping away what made me feel strong. I asked for boldness, and you gave me spaces where I felt unseen. I asked for wisdom, and you placed me in seasons where I had to walk by faith, not by certainty. I asked for purpose, and you pulled me into stillness where my only task was to trust. It did not look like what I expected, but now I see how wise you are. You are not just answering my prayers, you are shaping my soul to hold them. There is a quiet resilience growing here. It is not loud or dramatic. It does not scream with confidence or clamor for attention. It simply stands. Even when nothing makes sense, it believes when there are no signs. It worships without music, gives thanks without a visible reason. It hopes without evidence and stays when it would be easier to run. This faith is not about feelings. It is about choosing to believe that you are who you say you are, even when the path winds through shadows. Lord, this kind of faith is deeper than what I had before. I do not say that with pride, but with reverence, because it is not something I built on my own. It is something you have built in me, brick by unseen brick. Every time I chose to stay close even when I did not feel you. Every time I whispered truth to my own soul when doubt crept in. Every time I turned away from distraction and turned toward you instead. You saw those moments. You counted them wholly. And now, here in this space that once felt empty, I find it overflowing with your quiet presence. I used to think that faith looked like leaping, like speaking with power, like marching boldly through open doors. But now I see that sometimes faith looks like staying put when the wind howls. It looks like holding on when the answers do not come. It looks like praying even when I feel tired of asking. It is in the decision to keep showing up, to keep believing, to keep leaning in, not because it is easy, but because you are worthy, because you never left, because you are doing something here that eternity will one day reveal. Father, I thank you for not answering all my prayers the way I wanted. I thank you for the closed doors, the detours, the delays, not because they felt good, but because they grew something in me that nothing else could. You taught me that silence is not abandonment, that hiddenness is not rejection, that growth is not always visible, and in doing so, you have made my roots deep enough to carry the weight of what is coming next. Even now, I sense that I am not just being shaped for my own sake. This quiet formation is not only about me. It is about the lives I will touch, the strength I will offer, the wisdom I will carry because of what you have formed in the silence. The world may not see it yet, but heaven has been watching all along, and you have been working with intention, with tenderness, with a love that refuses to rush. You care more about who I am becoming than how quickly I get there. And that love, that relentless care, anchors me. God, I choose to stay in this place with you, not because it is easy, but because it is holy. I choose to keep returning to the quiet, even when the noise of the world tries to pull me away. I choose to trust that nothing here is wasted, not the waiting, not the wandering, not the whispered prayers. You collect every tear, every hope, every surrender, and you use it all to write a story of grace I could never write on my own. Let me not despise this process. Let me not grow weary in the hidden places. Let me remember that you are the author and the finisher of my faith. And you are not done with me. The silence is not the end, it is the soil. And something beautiful is breaking through beneath the surface. Lord, I open my hands again. I release the pressure to prove, the need to explain, the fear of being overlooked. I trust that what you are doing in me will bear fruit in due season. I will not force what only you can fulfill. I will not grasp for what you are asking me to release. I will not compare my process to someone else's highlight reel. I will stay here in this sacred stretch of soul and let you finish what you have started. And when doubt whispers that I have been forgotten, remind me of the promises that still stand. When discouragement creeps in, remind me of how far you have already brought me. When the world rushes by, trying to measure me by speed or size or status, remind me that you are more concerned with depth than display, with substance over spotlight, with faithfulness over fame. This is the work you value, the unseen, the uncelebrated, the faithful yes in the quiet. And so I will keep saying yes, yes to stillness, yes to surrender, yes to the shaping I do not fully understand, because I trust you, because you are here, because even when nothing around me seems to change, everything within me is being transformed. And I know, without needing a sign, that you are preparing me for what I cannot yet see, that the faith forged in silence will one day speak volumes, that the roots growing deep today will anchor me tomorrow, that this hidden place is not just where I am waiting, it is where I am becoming, where I am learning to live not by sight, but by every word that flows from your heart. Father, it is in this continued quiet that I begin to perceive the outline of something greater rising beyond what I had the capacity to imagine. There is no trumpet announcing the breakthrough, no sudden blaze of glory to signal its arrival, and yet I can feel the shift beginning deep within. It is not loud, but it is undeniable, like the tide turning in the early dawn, barely perceptible to the eye, but strong enough to pull everything with it. You have been preparing me not for the comfort of clarity, but for the courage to walk into the unknown with steady steps. God, you are faithful even when I cannot trace you. You are present even when I cannot feel you. The more I surrender to your timing, the more I realize how much I have mistaken momentum for progress. Yet it is here, in this quiet soil of obedience, that you are raising something far more powerful than speed resilience. The kind of endurance that does not burn out when emotions fluctuate, but burns steady with the light of conviction. You are not rushed, and you are not late. You are thorough, and I am learning to bless the pace of your preparation. Lord, I confess how often I have been tempted to believe that the evidence of breakthrough must be external open doors, answered prayers, visible victories. But you are showing me that the real breakthrough begins within. It is the shift from anxiety to trust, from fear to peace, from striving to surrender, from needing to control to resting in your sovereignty. And I see now that these are the breakthroughs that last. These are the victories that ripple into every other part of life, because they change the way I see, the way I respond, the way I carry your presence into the world around me. Father, how often I have prayed for you to change the situation, unaware that you were first changing me to handle it differently. The challenge did not shift, but my heart did. The pressure did not lift, but my posture under it was transformed. That is the breakthrough. No one sees the moment when I choose peace over panic, when I speak grace instead of anger, when I trust instead of control. These unseen victories are sacred, and they are preparing me for everything that lies ahead. I now recognize that every delay, every detour, every disappointment was never a sign of abandonment, but an invitation to dig deeper. You were not withholding from me. You were positioning me, not just geographically or circumstantially, but spiritually. You were aligning my heart with your purposes, breaking old patterns, uprooting lies, rewiring my reactions, teaching me to breathe through the tension, to stand firm in the waiting, and to worship not for what I see, but for who you are. Lord, there is a stillness that no noise can steal from me anymore, a kind of rootedness that does not require applause to know its worth, because you have built something in me in this hidden place that cannot be undone. I no longer crave the platform, I crave your presence. I no longer chase the outcome, I pursue obedience. I no longer define breakthrough by what changes around me, but by what transforms within me. And this shift is holy. This is the quiet miracle of your preparation. God, I am beginning to see how you use everything. Nothing is wasted in your hands. Even the moments I wished away have become sacred ground. Even the tears I shed in frustration have watered the seeds of deeper faith. Even the questions that once felt like burdens have now come bridges into intimacy with you. You take my impatience and mold it into perseverance. You take my complaints and teach me to listen. You take my restlessness and guide it toward purpose. This is the kind of breakthrough that reshapes how I live. I no longer wait for permission to walk in peace. I no longer postpone joy until the situation improves. I no longer hold my breath hoping for everything to go right before I praise you. I breathe now. I trust now. I rejoice now. Because I know you are already at work, already weaving redemption into every thread of my story. And the victory you are crafting is not a single moment. It is a way of being, a lifestyle of anchored trust. Father, help me hold steady when emotions try to hijack my focus. Help me fix my eyes not on the storm, but on your steady presence in the midst of it. Help me speak life over my situation, even when the outcome is unclear. Let my faith not be fragile or circumstantial, but rooted and resilient. Let me become someone who carries your light even in the shadowed places, who believes even when nothing changes, who stays close even when it is costly. Teach me to celebrate the slow miracles, the kind that unfold one obedient step at a time, the kind that do not draw crowds but make heaven smile, the kind that deepen my faith, stretch my trust, and open my eyes to your nearness. Let me find beauty not just in the destination, but in the shaping journey. And let the joy of walking with you outweigh the pressure of having it all figured out. Lord, this is not just about one answered prayer. This is about becoming someone who lives in continual communion with you, who no longer sees delay as punishment, but as preparation, who no longer sees silence as absence, but as sacred invitation, who no longer treats breakthrough as a finish line, but as a new beginning of deeper reliance. Greater intimacy, an ongoing surrender. So I rise into this day not because everything is perfect, but because I trust the one who is. I walk not because the way is easy, but because I am not alone. I speak not because I have all the answers, but because I carry a peace that surpasses understanding. I choose to move forward even without clarity, because your word lights the next step. And that is enough. Father, I surrender once more, not to resignation but to faith, not to defeat, but to the holy courage that says yes before the evidence appears. I lean into the quiet knowing that you are the God who sees, the God who hears, the God who moves. And even now, you are working all things for my good, in ways that defy logic and exceed expectations. You are preparing me not just for a moment of blessing, but for a life that reflects your heart, a life that can weather storms without losing joy, a life that loves without fear, a life that gives without needing recognition, a life that shines quietly, steadily, consistently, even in the midst of uncertainty. This is the life you are shaping in me. This is the breakthrough you are birthing in silence. And I receive it not just with hope, but with readiness. Not just with longing, but with trust. Not just with prayer, but with perseverance. Father, as I sit quietly and allow the peace of the last chapter to settle into my spirit, I feel your gentle invitation to go deeper into the places where my control still lingers, where my will still resists surrender. There is a softness in how you lead me, not with force, but with kindness. And in that kindness, you are showing me that true strength is born not from striving harder, but from yielding more completely. Lord, in the stillness of this morning, I admit that part of me still clings to the idea that I must figure everything out, that if I just work hard enough, think deeply enough, plan carefully enough, I can prevent disappointment. But you, in your wisdom, are slowly untying those knots of self-reliance. You are reminding me that my role is not to have all the answers, but to trust the one who does. And in that trust, I find a freedom that striving never gave me. God, I have been learning that surrender is not about giving up, it is about giving into the rhythm of grace, to the flow of your will, to the quiet knowing that you are doing something far more profound than I can see. Let me surrender with intention, not out of fear or fatigue, but from a place of deep trust. Because if you are truly good, and I believe with all my heart that you are, then I can lay down my plans without losing myself. In fact, it is only in surrender that I begin to find who I really am. Father, help me release my grip on the timeline I have built in my mind, the silent expectations I have carried like heavy bags, weighing me down without even realizing it. Teach me to see delay not as denial, but as divine preparation. Let me embrace this season as sacred, even if it does not look the way I wanted. Let me trade the illusion of control for the security of being held by you. There is something so quiet yet so powerful about choosing to trust you when the outcome is still unknown. It is in these moments that faith becomes more than a word. It becomes breath. It becomes movement. It becomes life. Teach me to live that way, not just when things feel easy, but especially when they do not. Let my default not be panic, but prayer, not fear, but faith, not resistance, but rest. God, bring to you the parts of me that are still fighting for control, the anxious thoughts that spin when I imagine the worst, the doubts that creep in when doors stay closed longer than expected, the impatience that surfaces when things feel slow. I bring it all to you not because I know how to fix it, but because you are the only one who can transform it. Melt the resistance in me with the warmth of your love. Replace my demands with quiet confidence. Turn my questions into trust. Father, you know how hard it is for me to surrender the things I deeply care about. My family, my future, my calling, my identity. But I am learning that holding tightly does not protect them, it only prevents you from moving freely in them. So today, I open my hands, not out of resignation, but out of reverence. I place what I love most into the hands that shaped the stars and still remember my name. There is no safer place for my heart than in yours. Lord, I realize that when I surrender, I do not lose, I gain. I gain the peace that passes understanding. I gain the clarity that comes from stillness. I gain the strength that is not rooted in my capacity, but in your character. You do not ask me to carry the weight of outcomes, just to walk in obedience. And so I will walk, one obedient step at a time. Even when the road is foggy, even when my emotions falter, because you never do. God, Help me release my tendency to compare my path to others. Comparison robs me of gratitude. It blinds me to the beauty of my own journey. Teach me to celebrate others without questioning myself. Let me be so anchored in your love that I no longer look to outside validation to determine my worth. My identity is not in what I achieve, but in whose I am, and I am yours fully, irrevocably, forever. Let today be shaped not by urgency, but by alignment, not by my agenda, but by your spirit. Let me move in rhythm with your heart, not the pressure of expectations. Let me pause when you whisper pause. Let me act when you whisper go. Let me listen closely enough to catch the nuance of your voice, the tone of compassion, the cadence of grace, the steady reassurance that you are with me in all things. Father, in this quiet place, I can feel the weight of burdens I did not even realize I was carrying. The silent pressure to prove, the constant inner voice that whispers, I am behind. But you are not looking for performance. You are looking for presence. You do not ask me to be more than I am. You simply invite me to be with you. And in that being, I find becoming. I become more whole, more peaceful, more like you. God, if all I do today is love well, listen deeply, and walk humbly, let that be enough. Let that be the offering I place at your feet. I do not need to impress you with my accomplishments. I just want to honor you with my heart. Let every interaction reflect the surrender I am learning to live. Let every word I speak carry the fragrance of grace. Let my posture be one of openness, not defense, of invitation, not fear. You are not asking me to figure out tomorrow. You are asking me to show up to today, to be present for the moments that matter, to be fully alive to the people in front of me, to be grounded in gratitude and softened by compassion. You are asking me to walk, not run, to breathe, not brace, to trust, not tense. And I want to live that way with a soul unhurried and a heart undivided. Father, thank you for showing me that surrender is not a once and done act. It is a daily choice, a continual laying down of what I cannot control in exchange for what you promised to carry. Thank you for being patient when I pick up what I already placed in your hands. Thank you for reminding me, gently and faithfully, that you have not changed your mind about me, even when I waver. That kind of love changes everything. And so I welcome this new day with that love as my covering, not because I know how everything will unfold, but because I know I am not walking it alone. You are with me. You go before me. You hem me in behind. You walk beside me. You dwell within me. And that is more than enough. That is the promise I will rest in as I move forward, with heart wide open and hands fully surrendered. Lord, as I continue this journey with you, I find myself holding tightly to the gentle strength you have been building in me, the kind that does not demand clarity, but chooses trust. You have taught me that true peace is not found in knowing every step ahead, but in knowing that each step is held in your hands. And so I walk, Lord, not because I have mastered the road, but because I have begun to trust the one who walks beside me. Father, The quiet shift inside me has turned into something more than hope. It has become a way of seeing. I look at the day not through the lens of pressure, but through the lens of presence. I am learning that when I wake up and breathe in your nearness, even the unknown loses its power to shake me. I used to need explanations to feel safe. Now I need your nearness more than I need understanding. Because when you are near, even confusion becomes a canvas where you can write something beautiful. God, I am starting to understand that your guidance is often felt more than seen. It is the soft tug of conviction, the deep exhale of surrender, the way peace settles like dew on my soul when I take the step that does not make sense, but somehow feels right. You speak through quiet nudges, not loud announcements. And that used to frustrate me, but now it comforts me, because it means you are closer than the noise. You are not trying to impress me with grandeur. You are trying to draw me into intimacy. Lord, help me lean into that intimacy more today. Help me listen for the still, small voice that cuts through the chaos and reminds me that I am not forgotten, that I am not behind, that nothing has gone wrong just because things are not going fast. You are not measuring my life by milestones the way I used to. You are forming something eternal, and that takes time. You are building depth, and that takes trust. You are growing roots that will keep me steady even when the storms return. Father, I confess that some days I still wrestle with the silence. There are mornings when the stillness feels like absence, and my faith wavers beneath the weight of waiting. But even then, you are patient with me. You do not rebuke me for being human. You meet me in it. You remind me that even Jesus wept. Even he cried out in the garden, asking for another way. And still he surrendered. Not because the way was easy, but because the one leading him was good. Let that be my posture too. Let me be brave enough to trust you when I do not feel brave. Let me speak faith even when doubt whispers loudly. Let me choose to believe that you are writing a story bigger than what I can see from here. A story where every thread of delay, every chapter of confusion, every shadowed valley is not the end, but part of the becoming. And in that becoming, you are not wasting a single moment. Lord, thank you for how you have walked with me, even in the parts of the path I wished away. Thank you for the lessons hidden in the long roads, for the humility born in the seasons of lack, for the compassion I never would have carried had I not first been broken, for the patience that bloomed in me only because I had to wait, for the empathy that softened me when I could have become bitter. These are treasures that do not come from ease, but from encounter, from wrestling, from walking with you through it all. Father, some days still feel fragile. Some hours still echo with the ache of dreams deferred. But even in those moments, I am learning to bring the ache to you instead of carrying it alone. I am learning that faith is not the absence of struggle. It is the decision to bring my struggle to the feet of the one who understands it completely. You do not ask me to be strong for you. You invite me to be held by you. And in that place, strength rises. Help me live today with open hands, Lord, not grasping for control, not fighting for answers, just walking with you, Let me wake up to the miracle that is already here, the breath in my lungs, the softness of morning light, the chance to begin again. Let me speak gently to others because I have been held gently by you. Let me forgive because I have been forgiven. Let me pour out peace because I have been filled with it. God, today may not look extraordinary on the surface, but that does not mean it is not sacred. Maybe the breakthrough is not a single moment, but a series of quiet choices to stay grounded in grace. Maybe the real miracle is how I keep returning to you no matter how far my thoughts wander. Maybe the testimony is not the dramatic rescue, but the steady hand that never lets go. Let me rest in the knowledge that you are not in a hurry. You do not rush what you love, and you love me deeply, patiently, fully. That means the process is not a punishment, it is a preparation. And I want to honor that preparation by walking slowly enough to notice your fingerprints along the way. I want to hear your voice even in the ordinary. I want to be shaped more by your truth than by my timeline. Father, I see now that trust is not something I wait to feel, is something I choose to live. It is in the choice to rise when I would rather hide, in the whisper of gratitude when fear grows loud, in the steady step forward even when the path ahead is foggy. I may not know where the road leads, but I know who leads me, and that is more than enough to keep walking. Thank you for being the God who sees the end from the beginning and still chooses to walk with me through every in-between. Thank you for not being disappointed in my questions, for sitting with me in silence, for steadying me when my heart races with anxiety. Thank you for making even this uncertain moment a place of sacred encounter. Lord, this is what I want my life to reflect. Not perfection, but presence. Not answers, but awe. Not control, but confidence in you. Let this day be marked by the softness of grace, the steadiness of peace, and the joy that comes from trusting in the one who never changes. Let me be slow to speak and quick to listen, not just to people, but to your spirit. Let me be shaped more by stillness than by striving. God, this morning is another invitation to lean in, to slow down, to believe that the story is still unfolding exactly as it should. Even when I do not feel ready, even when it does not look like progress, even when I wish I were further along, you see it all. And you are not anxious, so I breathe deep, I let go, and I walk into today not with fear, but with quiet confidence. You are here, you are enough, and you are leading me one step at a time. Lord, as I rise into this new moment with breath in my lungs and awareness of your presence, still from yesterday's surrender, I sense you drawing me into a deeper calm, the kind of calm that no longer needs to ask what is next, the kind that rests not because it sees the full path, but because it knows who walks the path with me. You are here, as sure as the sunrise, as steady as the stillness that welcomes this day. Father, there is something sacred about the quiet places, the ones without answers, without clear directions, without applause, the spaces in between where faith is not proven by loud declarations, but by gentle obedience. I used to see those moments as waiting rooms. Now I understand them as holy ground. For it is in the quiet that I hear you most clearly, in the unknown. You speak with the voice that stills storms inside me. And even though I cannot predict what is ahead, I do not fear it, because I know you go before me. God, I do not want to rush past what you are doing in the silence. I do not want to fill every quiet hour with noise and motion just to feel productive. I want to be present to this slow unfolding, to honor the pace you have set for my growth. I know now that not every breakthrough comes with fanfare. Some arrive on tiptoe, wrapped in stillness, announced by peace instead of noise. Help me recognize the significance, what you do in secret, the strength you build in solitude, the healing you pour out in hidden places, the clarity you whisper in the hush before dawn. Lord, sometimes the unknown feels like a wilderness, a space where old maps no longer help and familiar markers disappear. But you remind me that wilderness is not abandonment. It is preparation. It is where you refine vision, purify motives, and strengthen identity. It is where you draw near with manna and mercy, teaching me to trust you one day at a time. You strip away the need to perform, and in its place, you give me presence constant, faithful, sustaining, and that is enough. Father, thank you for not rushing me. Thank you for walking with me at the pace of grace. When I want to sprint ahead, you gently invite me to slow down. When I am tempted to measure my life by milestones, you remind me that character matters more than timelines. You are not counting my progress by the world's standards. You are watching for fruit, peace, patience, kindness, faithfulness. And in the quiet, those fruits take root. In the stillness, they grow deep. May I not despise the seasons that feel slow, for they are the soil of lasting transformation. God, help me trust the process even when I can't see the progress. Some days it feels like I am standing still, like nothing is shifting. But you are always working beneath the surface, beyond what eyes can see, like roots growing in darkness, unseen but essential. You are developing endurance, maturity, and wisdom in me. Teach me to celebrate growth that others may never notice. Help me to value the invisible work of becoming. Let me not measure my life by outcomes, but by obedience, because obedience always leads me closer to you. Lord, I give you the parts of my heart that still crave clarity more than closeness. I confess how often I have tried to trade trust for certainty, as if knowing the destination would offer more peace than knowing you. But clarity without you would be hollow. Success without intimacy would be shallow. Let your nearness be my answer, even when questions remain. Let your presence be the promise I hold on to when the details are unclear. Because when I have you, I have all that truly matters. Father, help me tune my heart to the whispers, not just the shouts, to the soft nudges, the gentle convictions, the quiet leadings that invite me to pause, to notice, to respond. I do not want to be so distracted by loudness that I miss the holy things happening in hush. Give me ears that listen deeply, not just for answers, but for your heart. Let me live with a sensitivity that sees your fingerprints in the smallest moments, a phrase in a song, a bird on a branch, a stranger's kindness, a sunrise that lingers. God, I ask for courage in the quiet, courage to wait without despair, courage to rest without shame, courage to stay the course when it feels like nothing is changing. Let me hold onto your promises with quiet strength, not because I see fulfillment yet, because I know you cannot lie. You are faithful, and faithfulness is not fragile. It endures. Let me be like the tree planted by streams of water, steady, rooted, flourishing even when fruit is slow to appear. Let my trust be the anchor that holds through every uncertain wave. Lord, in this place of unknowns, I surrender not just my plans but my perspective. If I am honest, I sometimes assume silence means you are far, but more often, silence is where you are closest. You are not ignoring me. You are inviting me to lean in, to trust deeper, to grow up in faith. Silence is not absence, it is an invitation to maturity. Help me embrace it, not fear it. Let it shape me, not shake me. Father, give me grace for today, not grace for tomorrow's worries or next week's decisions. Just today. Grace to speak gently, grace to listen fully, grace to love without needing to be noticed, grace to forgive quickly, grace to begin again when I fall short. I do not want to miss the gift of today by living in the anxiety of what might come. Today is holy, today is yours, and I am here for it awake. Surrendered, present. Let every small act be done with great love. Let every conversation be laced with light. Let every thought that rises be filtered through your truth. When doubt knocks, let faith answer. When fear whispers, let hope respond. When weariness lingers, let joy rise. I want to live today not driven by urgency, but led by peace. Not by pressure, but by promise. God, I am learning that stillness is not stagnation, it is sacred space. A womb where new life is forming. A greenhouse for growth I may not yet understand. You are not wasting this season. You are watering roots. You are tilling the ground of my heart. You are preparing the harvest I cannot yet see. Help me not prove what you are growing just because the process is hidden. Let me stay planted. Let me stay faithful. Let me stay close. And as I carry this awareness into the rest of the day, I carry it gently, like a candle lit in the dark, small, quiet, but unwavering. The light does not shout, yet it changes everything it touches. Let me be that kind of light. Let your quiet work in me become a quiet witness through me. Not flashy, not loud, but real, consistent, faithful, true. Father, thank you for being the God who works in silence, who speaks through stillness, who transforms through time. I trust you here. I choose to stay close even when the path is veiled. I choose to believe that your timing is not a delay, but a design. I choose to walk slowly, mindfully, gratefully, trusting that every step with you, no matter how quiet, is leading me somewhere beautiful. Lord, as I settle once more into this sacred space with you, my heart carries the gentle flame of what you planted in stillness. I do not want to rush away from that quiet strength. I want to remain rooted in it, even as the world begins to stir and the pace of the day increases. I long to hold on to the rhythm of peace you whispered into me before the first task arrived. I long to move with the grace of someone who knows they are already loved, already held, already guided. Father, sometimes peace feels like a distant dream when noise surrounds me and expectations press in from every side. But you remind me that peace is not the absence of trouble, it is the presence of trust. It is not something I chase, but someone I stay near. You are my peace, not because you remove all storms, but because you are the calm within them. You are the one who speaks to the waves and commands them to be still. And if you can quiet the sea, you can quiet my soul. God, it is not always easy to stay anchored when winds of doubt try to sway me, or when the voices around me are louder than the voice within. But that is why I return to you. That is why I come back to this quiet morning hour. Again, not to impress you with eloquence, but to be reminded of what is true, to remember that I am not alone, not abandoned, not forgotten. You are near, you are enough, and you are speaking, even in whispers. Lord, teach me to carry your peace like armor. Let it cover my thoughts when anxiety creeps in. Let it shield my heart when disappointment knocks. Let it guide my words when I feel provoked or misunderstood. Let it slow my steps when I am tempted to race through what should be savored. Let it ground me when the world feels uncertain. I do not know what to do next. May peace not be a place I visit, but the posture I live from, a steady current beneath every word, every breath, every decision. Father, help me remember that peace begins not in circumstances, but in surrender. I find it not by controlling outcomes, but by releasing them. You did not create me to carry burdens that were never mine to bear. You invite me to lay them down at your feet, to release the illusion of control, to stop wrestling with what I cannot fix. You remind me that you are the shepherd, and I am the sheep. And sheep do not need to understand everything, they only need to follow. God, let me be a peacemaker in a world full of noise and reaction. Let my presence bring calm to tense places. Let my silence be sacred when words would only wound. Let my eyes see past anger into the edge behind it. Let me listen longer than I speak. Let me hold space for others without rushing to solve what is not mine to fix. Let me be a reflection of your gentleness, not just in what I do, but in how I do it. May every encounter I have today leave people more grounded, more seen, more safe. Lord, there is a deeper kind of peace. I want to know the kind that does not vanish when things go wrong, the kind that steadies me even when prayers seem unanswered. I want to know that kind of peace not just when everything is going well, but especially when it is not. Teach me to find you in the waiting, in the aching, in the unknowing. Let my peace not depend on explanations, but on communion. You are the Prince of Peace, not because you explain everything, but because you never leave. Father, I bring you the places in me that still tremble, the memories that replay without permission, the fears that visit in quiet hours, the uncertainties I try to ignore but feel creeping into the back of my mind. I hand them to you not because I no longer care, but because I choose to care differently. I choose to care by trusting. I choose to grieve with hope, to question with reverence, to feel deeply but not be drowned by emotion, to live vulnerably but not fearfully. God, when my mind starts racing and my thoughts grow loud, remind me to pause, to breathe, to return to this moment, to this breath, to this grace. Help me not miss the beauty that is here, because I am too busy worrying about what is not. Let me notice the small things, the way sunlight filters through a curtain, the quiet joy of hot coffee, the kindness of a smile from a stranger. Let these gentle gifts be reminders that peace is not far away. It is woven into the present, if I will slow down long enough to receive it. Lord, I ask you to silence the lies that try to steal my peace. The lie that says I must do more to be worthy. The lie that says if I am struggling, I must be failing. The lie that says you are distant when I feel numb. Replace those lies with truth so solid it cannot be shaken. That I am loved right here, right now. That you are working even when I cannot feel it. That peace is not proof of perfection, but the fruit of trust. Father, make me a vessel of peace not just in public moments, but in private ones, when no one sees but you, when I am with my family and tensions rise, when I am driving and impatience flares, when I am alone with my thoughts and doubt whispers louder than truth. Let me choose peace over pride, compassion over control, surrender over striving. Let me live from rest, not for it. Let me bring peace into every room, not because I have mastered it, but because I carry the one who is peace. God, I lift to you the people I will encounter today, the ones who are easy to love and the ones who challenge my grace, the ones who bring laughter and the ones who bring pain, the ones who mirror my faith and the ones who test it. Help me show up with a peaceful heart, not reactive but responsive, not quick to defend, but quick to understand. Let my peace be contagious. Let it ripple outward. Let it make room for healing in places that have only known division. Lord, I do not ask for a life free from trouble. I ask for a heart that stays calm within it. I ask for the inner stillness that cannot be shaken by outer storms. I ask for the kind of peace that passes understanding. The kind that does not make sense on paper, but makes all the difference in reality. I ask for a peace that does not wait for perfect conditions, but flows in every season, that dances in joy and holds steady in pain, that walks with me through shadowed valleys and lifts my eyes toward light. Father, even now, as I sit here with you, I can feel that peace beginning to rise again. Like a tide coming in slowly, it finds the broken places and fills them gently. It does not crash. It does not demand. It simply enters. And I receive it. I receive what I cannot earn. I receive what I do not always understand. I receive what you so freely give, not just for me, but for the world around me. Let it pour through me like water through open hands, spilling into dry places, soaking seeds I may never see bloom. And as I step forward into this day, let me carry this peace with intention. Let it shape how I think, how I speak, how I see. Let it be the unseen strength behind every action. Let it be the quiet song I hum in my heart when chaos tries to call. Let it be the atmosphere around me, and if today brings challenges, I will not fear them. I will meet them from this place of peace, knowing I do not go alone, and knowing you are already there, waiting with grace, knowing that whatever I face, I am anchored not in circumstances, but in you. Father, I rise again with my heart resting in the peace you so lovingly wrapped around me, and I take another breath in your presence. What you planted in stillness now begins to move with me. I sense how gently you prepare me, not just to face this day, but to walk through it as one who listens deeply, one who moves by the rhythm of your voice. There is something in this moment, this hush between waking and walking, where I feel you guiding me before I even take my first full step. Lord, I long to be led by your voice in all that I do today, not just in the big decisions, but in the quiet in betweens, the spaces where it is easy to forget to seek you. I do not want to rush ahead, assuming I know the way. I do not want to lean on my own wisdom and call it discernment. I want to wait for your direction. I want to walk at your pace, pause when you pause, speak only when your spirit nudges me, and act only in alignment with what honors you. God, I admit how easily I confuse movement with progress and noise with clarity, but it is your whisper I crave, not the world's shout. It is your still small voice that I want to follow, even when it tells me to do the hard thing, even when it calls me to be silent when I want to defend myself, to stay when I want to run, to speak love when I want to withdraw. You do not force. You invite. You do not push. You lead. And I want to be led not by emotion, not by urgency, but by you alone. Father, you know the path set before me today. You see what I cannot, and you prepare what I do not even know I will need. There is such comfort in that, knowing that you go ahead of me, clearing the way, setting up divine appointments, softening hearts I will encounter, and placing strength in moments I have yet to experience. You orchestrate what I would never have the foresight to plan, and you do it out of love, out of kindness, out of a desire to see me walk in fullness, not frustration. Lord, as I move into conversations today, may I not rely on rehearsed responses or quick thinking, but on the wisdom that comes from abiding in you. Let my words carry grace. Let my tone reflect patience. Let my silence be filled with discernment. Let me not rush to prove myself, but lean into humility. Let the posture of my heart be one of listening to others, and listening to you in the middle of every interaction. You are always speaking. Teach me how to stay tuned in. God, sometimes I confuse your silence with absence, but you remind me that silence can be sacred. It can be space for trust. It can be the moment before revelation, the hush before direction. Help me not to panic when I do not hear you right away. Help me to wait with expectancy, not anxiety. To believe that even when I cannot trace your hand, I can trust your heart, and that sometimes the waiting is the preparation, and the silence is the soil where clarity grows. Father, I know there will be moments today when I will have to choose between reacting and responding. Help me choose the better way. Help me take a breath before I speak, and a pause before I act. Let my choices reflect a heart grounded in you. Let my responses show that I have been with you. Let my life be a quiet testimony that I am being led not by fear, not by impulse, not by the need to be right, but by the one who is truth, who is love, who is peace. Lord, there may be opportunities that look good, but are not from you. There may be doors that open, but are not mine to walk through. Give me the discernment to know the difference. Teach me to value obedience over outcome, surrender over striving, presence over performance. I would rather miss an opportunity than miss your direction. I would rather walk slowly with you than run ahead without you. I trust that what you withhold is as holy as what you give. God, I want to be led not just in action, but in motive. Search me and reveal what is not aligned with you. If I seek approval, remind me that I already have yours. If I act from fear, remind me of your perfect love. If I move from comparison, remind me of my unique calling. Purify my reasons. Strip away anything in me that tries to impress or prove. Let my motives be simple and pure to love you, to love people, and to reflect your goodness in all I do. Father, I offer you every decision that will be made today, both the visible ones and the hidden ones. The small yeses that shape the day, the quiet no's that protect my peace, the internal shifts that realign my heart. Be in them all. Be the guiding thought before the choice. Be the inner nudge when I hesitate. Be the conviction when I drift. Be the assurance when I doubt. And when I do not know what to do, let me know what to pray. Let prayer be the doorway through every uncertainty. Lord, thank you for being the kind of God who walks with me in real time, who does not wait at the finish line, but meets me in each step, who does not just care about what I do, but how I do it, who values the journey as much as the destination, who delights in the process, even when I stumble, who does not give up when I lose my way. You are not distant. You are near. You are not passive. You are active. You are not silent. You are always drawing me close. God, help me not miss your voice, because I am only listening for it in dramatic ways. Let me recognize you in the ordinary, in the quiet idea that one tea go away, in the scripture that stirs something in me, in the conversation that unexpectedly touches a deep place, in the peace that comes after prayer, in the sudden stillness during chaos. Let me be aware. Let me be sensitive. Let me not just hear you, but follow you, even when it is inconvenient, even when it is unfamiliar. Father, I trust you with my plans. I trust you with my pace. I trust you with the people you place in my path. I trust you to speak clearly when I need to act, and to hold me when I need to wait. You are not in a hurry, and I do not need to be either. Let me sync my heart to your rhythm. Let me walk this day not like someone trying to keep up with the world, but like someone walking hand in hand with eternity. And as the hours unfold and the unknown becomes the present, let me remain sensitive to your leading. Let me not cling too tightly to my schedule that I miss your surprises. Let me not be so fixed on my idea of how the day should go that I overlook the way you are writing it. Let me adjust freely, trust deeply, and move faithfully. I am yours, and this day is yours, so lead me gently and surely, step by step, moment by moment, as only you can. Lord, as I continue walking in the light of your presence, I sense how each moment of surrender draws me nearer to the fullness of peace. You are not only the voice that leads, but also the strength that steadies. The more I trust your rhythm, the more I find that even the uncertain steps become firm underfoot. And so today, I come again not just with requests, but with a quiet plea to be shape-shifted to one who stands strong in conviction and soft in spirit, one who does not waver with fear, yet bends with grace when love demands it. Father, sometimes courage looks like persistence, like standing firm in what is right even when no one applauds, even when the cost is high. Other times, it looks like letting go, yielding my desire to be understood, to win, to be first, to be seen. I know now that true strength is not always loud or forceful. Sometimes it is silent, sometimes gentle, always rooted in you. And I long to embody that kind of strength, the kind that stands without becoming hard and yields without losing truth. God, you know how the world pulls in opposite directions. One moment, I am expected to assert myself and hold my ground. The next, to accommodate and stay quiet. Teach me when to speak boldly and when to listen intently. Let your spirit be the compass, showing me where to plant my feet and where to step aside. Let me not be driven by the fear of man, but drawn by the wisdom of heaven. I do not want to be reactive. I want to be responsive to you, to love, to truth. Lord, this day may ask more of me than I feel prepared to give. There may be conversations that challenge my patience, decisions that stretch my discernment, and moments that tempt my pride. Be my inner calm. Anchor me in the assurance that I do not walk alone. Let me not strive to prove my worth through performance. Let me rest in the truth that I am already loved, already chosen, already enough in you. And from that place, let me move not to earn favor, but to reflect it. Father, when others misunderstand me, let me not be quick to defend. When my name is not honored, let me remember that yours is the only name worth lifting. When expectations are heavy, let me cast them down at your feet. You are my identity. You are my defender. You are my source. May I not seek validation in applause, nor lose heart in silence. May I remember that your eye is always on me, that your delight is not performance-based, but rooted in who you created me to be. God, remind me that even setbacks are tools in your hands, that disappointment can refine rather than ruin, that closed doors can protect, that failure, when surrendered, becomes fertile soil for grace. Keep me teachable in every trial. Help me welcome correction without shame, growth without resistance. Let my heart be pliable in your hands, willing to be molded, to be stretched, to be transformed. I do not want to cling to comfort if it costs me character. Lord, if I must walk through challenge today, let me do it without bitterness. If I must hold my ground, let me do it without arrogance. If I must yield, let it be from humility, not fear. Let my interactions be marked by integrity. Let me love without condition, serve without seeking credit, and speak without the need to control. Let me be quick to apologize, slow to accuse, and ready to forgive even when forgiveness feels like surrender. Father, in situations that test my patience or poke at old wounds, be my peace. In moments when I am tempted to react from ego, be my restraint. In decisions where my desire battles with wisdom, be my clarity. I know that life is not always a battle to win, but a lesson to embrace. Help me find the lesson. Help me walk with awareness, noticing not just what happens to me, but what you are doing in me through it all. God, I ask not for an easy path, but for a faithful heart. Not for fewer challenges, but for more of your presence within them. Let the pressure not crush, but cultivate something deeper, something holy. Something lasting. I know you waste nothing. Every delay, every detour, every discomfort can become a doorway to growth if I let you guide me through it. So today, I lean in. I choose not to flee from what stretches me, but to trust that you are enlarging my soul through it. Lord, I ask for the wisdom to discern between battles worth fighting and ones meant to be released. Between the need to speak and the power of silence. Between defending truth and needing to be right. Let my courage be wrapped in kindness. Let my clarity be softened by compassion. Let me not be sharp for the sake of being right, but sharp to carve space for healing, for honesty, for light to break through where darkness has lingered. Father, thank you for the people you will place in my path today. Each one a reflection of your design, carrying their own battles and burdens. Let me see them not as interruptions, but as invitations to extend grace. Let me not measure their value by their behavior, but by their belonging to you. Teach me to slow down enough to notice their need, and to be a vessel of your compassion, not with grand gestures, but with presence, kindness, and sincerity. God, in moments when I feel overlooked, remind me that you see. In moments when I feel out of place, remind me that you planted me. In moments when I feel small, remind me that your strength is made perfect in weakness. I am not called to impress, but to be faithful, not to lead everything, but to follow you in everything. Let that be enough. Let faithfulness be my aim, not results. Let consistency in character be more important than recognition. Lord, if there are places in my heart still ruled by fear, still guarded by pride, still untouched by your grace, bring them into the light. Do what you need to do within me so that I can walk rightly, speak truthfully, love freely, peel away the layers that protect my image but suffocate my soul. I do not want to be polished. I want to be whole. I want to be real. And I want you to shape every real part of me until it reflects your heart. Father, thank you that you do not rush my process, that you are not discouraged by how many times I stumble, that you meet me every morning not with shame, but with new mercy. What a gift to begin again, to rise with hope, to walk into a day where your grace goes before me and your spirit walks beside me. Let me carry that confidence, not in myself, but in you, not in what I can manage, but in what you promise. And as the day unfolds, with all its demands and unknowns, keep my heart steady. Let my hands be open, ready to build, ready to release. Let my words be few but full of life. Let my steps be deliberate, grounded in trust. Let me walk not with heaviness but with quiet joy. Knowing that I do not need to have it all figured out, I only need to stay close to you, to keep listening, to keep trusting, to keep showing up with love and letting you do the rest. Lord, as I carry the quiet strength you have planted in me through yesterday's surrender, I realize how often your presence is clearest when the path is not. You do not always light the entire road ahead. Sometimes you give me just enough to take one step. And I have come to see that trust is not about knowing what comes next. It is about knowing who goes with me. So here I stand at the edge of today, not asking for certainty, but asking to walk with you, even when the way forward is veiled in fog. Father, help me not to confuse clarity with safety. Let me not idolize control, as if managing the outcome is the same as securing peace. You did not call me to map the future, only to be faithful in the present. And in the present, you are here. That is enough. Let me keep my eyes not on the mist, but on your movement. Teach me to recognize your hand, even when it guides me through unfamiliar terrain. I do not want to resist the unknown just because it unsettles me. I want to embrace it because you are already there. God, I confess that I often grow impatient with your pace. I want quick answers, firm signs, immediate results. But you are not hurried, and your timing is perfect. So instead of rushing ahead or stalling in fear, train my soul to move at the pace of grace. Teach me to trust the process, not just the promise. Even if today feels ordinary or slow or repetitive, help me see that every small act of obedience builds something sacred. Every unseen prayer, every quiet yes, every silent surrender, it matters more than I know. Lord, when I feel the tension of waiting for breakthrough, for healing, for reconciliation, for direction, let it be a place of refining, not restlessness. Waiting is not wasting when I wait with you. Let me not fill the silence with noise or numb the stillness with distraction. Let me linger long enough to hear the whisper. Let me be still long enough to notice the soft unfolding of your plan. I do not need to force anything open. What you open, no one can shut. What you shut, no one can force. Father, you are not only the God of motion, but the God of pause. You use both movement and stillness to shape me. If today is a day of quiet groundwork, then let my roots go deep. Let me lean into the soil of trust, watered by hope, nourished by your faithfulness. Growth does not always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like letting go. Let me not chase momentum if it means abandoning peace. Let me remember that hidden growth is still growth, and that unseen obedience still pleases you. God, when others seem to be advancing while I am standing still, guard my heart from comparison. Their path is not my path. Their pace is not my pace. You have written a unique story over my life, and I do not need to copy anyone else's chapter. Let me celebrate them without questioning myself. Let me bless their journey while staying grounded in mine. If I looked too long at what others are doing, I will lose the beauty of what you are doing right here. keep my spirit anchored in the lane you have given me. Lord, when the fog settles thick around my purpose, remind me that purpose does not vanish. It simply asks for deeper faith. Let me walk by truth, not by what I feel. Let me respond from trust, not from urgency. If my emotions rise and fall like the tide, let your word be my shoreline. If my thoughts swirl with uncertainty, let your promises be the rock I hold, even when I do not see results, even when my hands feel empty. Let me walk like someone who believes you are still working behind the veil. Father, some days my faith feels bold and radiant. Other days, it feels like a flickering candle in the wind. Thank you that you do not measure my worth by the strength of my feelings, but by the depth of my dependence. Even mustard seed faith is enough when it is rooted in you. Let me not despise the small moments of trust. They are the building blocks of a resilient heart. When I feel tired of believing, remind me that you never tire of carrying me. You never waver. You never sleep. You never leave. God, as I walk into conversations, decisions, and situations today, let me bring your calm. Let me be a quiet presence in chaotic spaces. Let my words be slow and thoughtful. Let my reactions be shaped by grace, not impulse. Let me be the one who chooses peace over proving a point. Let me notice when someone needs encouragement, even if they do not ask. Let me hold space for someone else's questions, doubts, or weariness, without feeling the pressure to fix it. Sometimes just being present is enough. Lord, if I am called to lead today, let me lead with humility. If I am called to follow, let me do so with honor. If I am called to serve in the shadows, let me not resent the lack of spotlight. Greatness in your kingdom looks nothing like the world's version. It looks like washing feet, lifting others, staying faithful when no one watches. It looks like planting seeds I may never see bloom. Let that be enough for me. Let eternal fruit matter more than momentary recognition. Father, you have never asked me to be spectacular. You have asked me to be available. You have never demanded perfection, only surrender. So I come again with what I have: my time, my thoughts, my hands, my heart. Use them as you will. Fill what is empty. Refine what is impure. Strengthen what is weak. Break what is proud. And in all of it, let your light seep through. Even if it is just a flicker, let it be steady. Even if it reaches only one person, let it be enough. God, if fear knocks on my heart today, let courage be the one to answer. Courage that is not loud, but unwavering. Courage that does not demand proof, but walks anyway. If doubt creeps in, let it find no home in my thoughts. Let me speak truth out loud, truth that has carried me this far. Truth that you are who you say you are, that you finish what you begin, that you have never failed, and you want to start now. Let that truth settle deeper than anxiety. Let it be the rhythm my soul breathes to. Lord, even in the fog, the sun still rises. Even when I can see it, light keeps moving forward. So will I, not because I have all the answers, but because I have the anchor. not because the path is easy, but because the guide is trustworthy. I do not need the map, I need the presence of the one who walks with me. And in your presence, I find the courage to keep going, to keep believing, to keep sowing peace, even when I feel none, to keep choosing hope, even when the horizon looks gray. Father, thank you that I do not have to understand everything to walk with confidence. I only need to stay close. Thank you for being a lamp to my feet, not a spotlight to the future. It teaches me to depend. It teaches me to listen. It teaches me to slow down and savor your nearness. And in that nearness, there is joy, not the kind that comes from circumstances, but the kind that bubbles up from knowing I am known, I am loved, I am held. Let that joy carry me today. Let it flow into how I speak, how I work, how I respond, how I rest. Let it soften my tone. Let it brighten my gaze. Let it shift the atmosphere around me. Because where your joy is, strength rises. And in the strength you give, I can walk through any fog and still find the morning. Father, as the quiet strength of joy lingers from yesterday's awakening, I step into this new day aware of the stretching you are doing in me, the stretching that does not break, but builds, the stretching that invites me to grow beyond what is comfortable, beyond what is familiar. And though it sometimes feels like tension, I am learning that this is the space where transformation begins, the place where faith becomes active, not passive, where I move not only because I believe, but because I am being shaped by what I trust. Lord, I see now that growth arrives wearing the robes of resistance, that you allow tension not to torment, but to train. And so if today stretches me, if patience is tested, if humility is required, if discomfort arises, I ask that you remind me of the purpose in it. Let me not pull away from what you are using to strengthen me. Let me lean into it with grace. Let me stay rooted even when I feel the pull, knowing you are widening my capacity, not punishing my spirit. God, stretch my compassion where judgment used to live. Let my first reaction not be to assume, but to understand. Teach me to ask deeper questions, to listen without needing to respond, to see others through the lens of what they carry, not only how they behave. Remind me that no one walks through this life without scars. And sometimes the deepest kindness is offered not in grand gestures, but in silent respect. Let me be a person who makes space, who sees pain without demanding explanation, who offers presence instead of pressure. Father, as you stretch my character, stretch also my willingness. Take me past the edge, what I have known, into the trust of what you are building. If you call me to love someone hard to love, let me not resist. If you invite me to forgive before I feel ready, let me remember that forgiveness is not a reward for their change, but a release for my own freedom. If you ask me to serve where I am unseen, let my ego be silent and my heart be full. You are not developing my image. You are refining my soul. Lord, when stretching feels like silence, when I hear no answers, see no doors open, sense no movement, remind me that stillness does not equal absence. You are the God who whispers in the wind, who speaks in the quiet crackle of the soul. If all you give me today is breath and a place to stand, then I receive that as enough, Because with you, even the space between becomes sacred. Even the waiting becomes woven with meaning. Even the ordinary day holds eternal weight. God, if I am stretched into roles I feel unequipped for into parenting, leadership, ministry, decisions that impact others, help me not to shrink back out of fear. You do not call the equipped. You equip the called. And if you have brought me here, you will sustain me here. Let me step forward not with false confidence, but with holy dependence, not with polished plans, but with surrendered hands. I do not need to know how to do it all. I just need to walk with you, one stretch at a time. Father, in moments where the stretch makes me tired, where I feel the ache of becoming, speak gently to my soul. Remind me that endurance is built through consistency, not through spectacle. That faithfulness in the hidden place carries just as much value as fruitfulness in the public one. Let me not glamorize results and forget to honor the daily obedience. If all I do today is show up with integrity, speak with kindness, and love with sincerity, that is a day well lived in your eyes. Lord, stretch my imagination to dream again, to believe that you still surprise, still delight, still exceed what we think is possible. Let me not fall into the pattern of cynicism, even when disappointments have stacked up. Let me guard my heart from the slow decay of disbelief. Restore the wonder, Lord. Restore the sense of expectancy. Let me look at today not as something to survive, but as ground you might break open with beauty. Let my spirit be awake to your unexpected moves. God, sometimes you stretch me by asking me to rest, to release the grip I keep on outcomes, to stop striving for control, to let go of proving and simply be. That kind of stillness is hard for me, but I know it is holy. Teach me to trust that you work even when I am not working, that you fight for me even when I am still, that your grace carries me further than any striving ever could. Help me stop when you say stop. Help me honor my limits without guilt or shame. Father, when the stretching feels like loss, remind me that pruning always precedes fruit, that what is removed is not rejection, but refinement, that sometimes letting go is not a failure, but an invitation to be lighter. Whether it is a dream, a relationship, a role, or an identity I have outgrown, help me to place it in your hands. I do not want to hold so tightly to what was that I miss, what is becoming. Make my hands open. Make my heart unclenched. Let me trust the gardener more than I trust the branches. Lord, in my relationships, stretch me toward reconciliation, not in ways that compromise truth or boundaries, but in ways that reflect grace. If there are words I need to say, give me courage. If there are wounds I need to tend, give me wisdom. If there are walls I have built out of pride or pain, give me humility to break them down. You are the God of mending, the God of bridges, the God who knits hearts back together. Do that work in me. Begin with me. God, when stretching requires change, help me not to fight you. Change is rarely comfortable, but it is necessary. You do not let me stay where I am, because you know what I am meant to become. Let me not idolize the familiar and call it faith. Let me not confuse predictability with peace. Your spirit is always inviting me forward, deeper, higher, even if it means letting go of what once felt safe, even if it means starting again, even if it means walking by faith and not by sight. Father, let me stretch toward joy, not the fleeting kind that depends on everything going well, but the rooted kind that flows from being known and loved by you. Let joy not be a reward for success, but a companion in the climb. Let it meet me in the middle of the mundane. Let it find me in the stretch. Let it bubble up in quiet confidence that I am where I am supposed to be, doing what I have been called to do, even if no one claps, even if no one sees. Lord, I thank you that even when I feel stretched thin, I am never stretched beyond your grace. You hold every part of me together. My mind, my emotions, my body, my future. You are the glue that never loses strength, the anchor that never pulls loose. When I feel like I am unraveling, you are weaving something deeper. When I feel like I am too weak to keep going, you whisper that your strength is made perfect in weakness. And suddenly, I find breath again. God, as I move through this day, stretch my capacity to love, to give, to show up, to listen, to believe, to try again. Not because I must strive to earn your approval, but because I already live from it. Not to exhaust myself with performance, but to overflow from the abundance you pour in. I want to live today with hands open, feet willing, heart steady. I want to show up with expectancy, with reverence, with quiet power, the kind that changes the atmosphere, not by force, but by faith. Father, even if I end this day tired, let it be the tired of purpose, not of regret, the tired of planting seeds, not chasing wind. Let me know that I stretched where you asked, gave what I could, released what I must, and rested in what only you can do. And let that be enough. Let that be the offering I place at your feet, trusting that you are the one who brings harvest in the right time, and who never wastes what is surrendered in love. Lord, as the hush of morning still rests upon my spirit, I feel the gentle echo of what you whispered yesterday, that even when I stretch, even when I pour out, I am held. The truth lingers like morning mist clinging to the hillside, soft but certain, reminding me that everything I release into your hands is not lost but multiplied. And today, as I rise again, not just from sleep but into purpose, I carry that trust like a sacred thread through the fabric of my soul. It steadies me, quiets the chaos, and teaches me how to be still, even while moving forward. Father, I confess there are moments when my heart is too loud, when worry beats like war drums in the back of my mind. I try to plan, to predict, to protect myself from the unknown, but all that effort only wearies my soul. Teach me, again and again, to trust you in silence, to trust you when the answers do not come quickly, when the doors stay closed, when the light is just enough for one step. You have never failed me, yet I so easily forget. So I bring you my anxious thoughts, and I lay them down one by one like stones beside still water. Let peace rise from their surrender. God, you are not in a hurry with me. You do not rush my healing, my growth, my becoming. You are patient in every detail. You wait beside me in every delay. You sit with me in every detour. So help me not to measure this day by how much I accomplish, but by how much I align with you. If today is slow, let it be sacred. If it is filled with interruptions, let them become invitations. If it does not go as planned, let it still go with grace. Because I do not want just a productive day, I want a faithful one. One where I am anchored not in the storm, but in the one who stills it. Lord, teach me to carry peace as a presence, not just a feeling. Let it be the tone of my voice, the patience in my steps, the quiet in my gaze. Let it enter the room before I speak, linger after I leave, and calm others even if they do not know why. Let me become a resting place for others, not because I have no struggles, but because I know where to bring them. Let my confidence not be loud, but deep. Let my assurance not be forced, but real. Let me trust you so fully that it spills into everything I do without needing explanation. Father, help me release the weight of what I cannot control, the burdens I pick up without noticing, the expectations I silently carry, the opinions that swirl like dust in a restless room. Help me put them down, not in defeat, but in devotion, because I was not made to carry everything. I was made to carry what you place in my hands, and to do it with love, not pressure. So I pause now, in this quiet moment, and ask you, what do you want me to carry today? And what do you want me to let go? Give me courage to obey your answer. God, in the quiet, I hear the rhythm of your presence. Not dramatic, not demanding, just steady, like a river moving beneath the surface, like breath that keeps returning, like morning itself. And I am reminded that strength is not always loud, that faith is not always fire. Sometimes it is just a quiet yes, a deep breath, a steady step forward even when I do not see what is next. Let me walk in that kind of strength, the kind that does not clamor for attention, but changes the atmosphere by being grounded in you. Lord, when I am tempted to prove myself, remind me that I am already known. When I am tempted to rush ahead, remind me that there is purpose in the pause. When I feel overlooked or unseen, remind me that you never miss a moment of my life. You see the hidden service. You know the silent prayers. You celebrate the small victories no one else claps for. That is enough for me. Let my worth never be tied to applause, but anchored in the truth of your love. Father, help me to dwell in stillness without shame. The world shouts that I must hustle, produce, compete, and compare. But you invite me into a rhythm that does not deplete me, into a pace that matches the heartbeat of heaven, into a day that is not driven by scarcity, but shaped by sufficiency. Remind me that I lack nothing when I walk with you, that I do not need to strive for what you have already given, that your timing is not a punishment, but a protection. Help me live slow enough to notice you today. God, some of the most powerful things you do happen beneath the surface. In conversations I never hear, in hearts I never touch directly, in seeds I never see bloom. And still, you ask me to plant, to show up, to love consistently even when results feel invisible. Strengthen my faith in the hidden work. Remind me that obedience is never wasted, that faithfulness in private is not less holy than success in public, that you are weaving stories through every surrendered moment, even the ones I think do not matter. Lord, let my eyes be gentle today. Let me look at others through the lens of their dignity, not just their behavior. Let me offer grace before judgment, kindness before correction, understanding before assumptions. I do not know what burdens they carry, what fears wake them in the night, what voices haunt their inner thoughts, but you do. And if I am to reflect you, let it be in the way I see others, not with suspicion, but with sacred respect. Let me carry your compassion like a light into every conversation. Father, as the sun rises higher, I think of how you faithfully bring light to the world without fail. Not once has the dawn forgotten to appear. Not once have you withheld warmth from the earth. And if you are that faithful in creation, how much more faithful will you be in my life? Let me live this day as someone fully convinced of your goodness. Let me walk with confidence, not arrogance, with peace, not apathy, with joy, not performance. Let my life bear witness to a God who keeps every promise, even in the quiet. God, I offer you my plans, but I trust you with the edits. You may add people I did not expect, remove things I thought were secure, delay what I thought should come quickly, or accelerate what I thought needed more time. And I choose to believe that all of it is love. That even when you rearrange, it is not to confuse me, but to bless me beyond what I imagined. Help me hold my schedule with open hands. Let me follow your interruptions, knowing they are often the doorway to miracles. Lord, I ask for one thing above all, to walk with you more closely today than I did yesterday. Not because I have figured everything out, but because I want to be near you. Because in your nearness is my peace. In your presence is my clarity. In your voice is the direction I need. So even if the day brings questions, confusion, or resistance, I will not walk it alone. You go before me. You walk beside me. You dwell within me. Let that be my anchor. Father, when night falls again and I look back on this day, let it not be defined by how much I achieved, but by how much I trusted. Let it be a day where quiet victories were won, where fears were faced gently, where love was offered freely, where stillness became strength. Let me remember that peace was never the absence of trouble, but the presence of trust. And in that trust, I find my center, my courage, my calling, and I find you. Always you. Father, as I continue to walk through the unfolding of this day, I sense the quiet strength of your presence surrounding me, holding me with a grace that expects nothing but welcomes everything. From the peace that carried me into this morning to the steady rhythm of surrender that followed, I have learned again that trust does not always roar. Sometimes it simply whispers, "You are here," and that is enough for my next step. I lean into that knowing now, allowing it to become the melody of this hour, the breath behind each decision I face, the stillness beneath every movement I make. God, I bring before you the places within me that still resist your timing, the parts that crave instant resolution, the questions that long for immediate answers, the desires that feel unanswered, not because they are unworthy, but because they are unfinished. You see every corner of my heart and know the deeper reasons behind each longing. Teach me to rest even while waiting. Let waiting become worship, not worry. Let hope stretch out its hands and hold space for what is not yet, without fear or frustration. Show me that silence is not neglect, that delay is not denial, that sometimes the most holy thing I can do is wait with an open heart. Lord, in the middle of the noise of life, the lists, the headlines, the hum of obligations, it is so easy to forget that I am not alone in any of it. You are not a distant observer, but a present companion. You sit with me in the rush. You walk beside me in the mundane. You whisper through the quiet. And even when I forget to look for you, you do not stop looking at me. Your eyes never waver. Your heart never turns away. So remind me, moment by moment, to return my gaze to you, not out of guilt, because I miss you when I do not. Father, thank you for the people I will encounter today, for those I love easily and those who challenge me to love more deeply, for those whose presence brings joy and those whose presence brings growth. Let me see each one as a divine appointment, not an interruption. Give me grace to be present with them, not distracted by what is next or weighed down by what came before. Let me listen with patience, speak with kindness, act with humility. Let each interaction be shaped by compassion, not control, by empathy, not assumption, by peace, not pride. God, I surrender the invisible battles to you, the quiet fears I do not name aloud, the assumptions that wear me down, the self-doubt that creeps in like a slow fog. You see the weight I carry without needing me to explain it. You know the stories I tell myself, the lies that sometimes sound like truth, the memories that try to shape my worth. But you remind me that I am not what I fear. I am not what I fail at. I am not what I have lost. I am yours, fully, deeply, entirely yours. And in that identity, I find the courage to try again, to forgive again, to believe again. Lord, as the day stretches forward, there are things I do not yet know, moments that will surprise me, choices I must make, emotions I may not expect. Prepare my heart for what is coming, not by giving me all the answers, but by anchoring me in your peace. Let me walk through uncertainty with a calm spirit, through change with a grounded soul, through challenge with quiet confidence. Let me respond, not react. Let me choose love when fear would be easier. Let me pause when rushing would feel safer. Let me listen before speaking, observe before assuming, and breathe before deciding. Father, remind me that grace is not earned, it is received. Let me stop striving to be perfect, stop performing for acceptance, stop editing my soul to be worthy of love. You see every part of me and call it beloved, even the parts I try to hide, even the ones still healing, even the dreams not yet realized. Let that truth sink deep into my bones until I live from it, and not just think about it. Let it shape the way I talk to myself. Let it soften the way I measure my progress. Let it rewrite the stories I have believed about what makes me valuable. God, let today be marked by tenderness, not weakness, but the strength to remain soft in a hardened world, the courage to keep my heart open, even when it has been wounded, the willingness to see beauty in places others overlook, the grace to offer kindness first. I do not want to become guarded or cold, even when life disappoints me. Keep my spirit teachable. Keep my love generous. Keep my hands open. Teach me to protect my peace without shutting down my heart. Teach me to discern without dismissing. Teach me to stand firm without becoming unyielding. Lord, when the day tempts me to chase things not meant for me, approval, comparison, competition bring me back to still waters. Let me return to the simplicity of being yours. Let me remember that I do not have to chase what is already mine in you. Peace, purpose, provision, identity. Let me trust that what is for me will not require me to betray who I am, that anything truly meant for my life will never ask me to shrink or pretend. Help me walk in authenticity, not performance, in freedom, not fear. Father, help me to be gentle with myself today, to forgive myself for not having it all together, to speak to myself with the same kindness I offer others, to allow space for rest without guilt, for reflection without shame, for mistakes without condemnation. You do not demand perfection from me. You delight in presence. You draw near not because I earn it, but because you desire it. Let me live from that awareness. Let it change how I treat my own soul. Let it bring a softness to my inner voice. Let it remind me that grace is not a reward, it is a rhythm. God, I ask that you would infuse ordinary moments with holy awareness, that folding laundry becomes an act of love, that answering messages becomes a chance to serve, that making a meal becomes a prayer. Let nothing be wasted. Let no moment be too small to be sacred. You walk with me in every task, not just the grand or visible ones. You are found in the details, in the mundane, in the hidden. And when I remember that, the whole world becomes a sanctuary. Every breath becomes a gift. Every step becomes worship. Lord, I thank you for how you meet me right here, not at some finish line. Not once I have figured it out, not only when I am strong, but here, in the middle, in the messy, in the unclear. That is where you speak the loudest, not in volume, but in presence. You do not wait for me to arrive somewhere better. You bring holy ground to where I am. So I stand here now with open hands and a willing heart, saying yes again to you, not because I know what is ahead, but because I trust the one who does. Father, let me end this day knowing I lived honestly, that I did not pretend to be more or less than I am, that I loved where I could, learned where I needed to, and leaned into you through it all. Let this be a day that speaks not of perfection, but of grace, not of performance, but of peace, not of striving, but of surrender. And as evening draws near, let the quiet that settles over my heart be full not of answers, but of trust, a trust that rests like soft light over still waters, calm and sure, unshaken and true. Dear Heavenly Father, As I breathe in the quiet of this moment and reflect on the path we have traveled together in these morning hours, I feel the hush of something sacred resting upon my spirit. Not an ending, not a closing, but a tender unfolding. A continuation. A promise that you are not only the beginning of my day, but the presence that weaves through every hour that follows. As I sit in this stillness with you, I do not rush to conclusions. I simply rest in the awareness that you are here, and that is enough. Lord, I thank you for the quiet strength you have placed within me, for the unseen ways you have been working while I waited, for the steady hand you have kept upon my shoulder when the way was uncertain, for the gentle correction when I wandered, and the boundless mercy when I returned. You have been more patient than I can comprehend, more present than I could have imagined. In my doubts, you have been unwavering. In my weariness, you have been enough. And now, in the soft unfolding of this day, you remain my refuge. Father, I do not know what tomorrow brings, and I no longer need to. I am learning that the safest place is not in knowing the future, but in trusting the one who holds it. You are not limited by what I see, nor shaken by what I fear. Your timeline is not mine, and yet is perfect in a way that brings peace even in the delay. Thank you for teaching me to live from the inside out, where trust is not based on what I can prove, but on the depth of relationship we have built in quiet hours like these. Thank you for forming in me a faith that does not need to shout, but simply stands. God, I release the weight of trying to hold everything together. I hand you the pieces I still do not know how to carry, the emotions I do not yet have words for, the questions that remain unanswered, the griefs I thought were small but have echoed longer than I expected. Take them, not to erase them, but to hold them with me. You are the keeper of my heart, and nothing is too trivial or too heavy for you. Let me feel less alone in what I carry, simply by remembering I never carry it alone. Lord, let your love echo through the smallest things today, in the breeze that brushes against my skin, in the scent of something familiar, in the unexpected pause that reminds me to breathe. Let the world slow down enough for me to notice you. Let me become aware again of the wonder that lives in plain sight, the grace tucked into routines, the beauty that asks nothing of me except to look up. Remind me that sacred moments are not always big. Sometimes they arrive in whispers, and they still matter. Father, for all the souls listening and praying along this journey, I lift up their hearts to you, the weary ones, the hopeful ones, the confused, the grieving, the searching, the silent. Let each of them feel the nearness of you in the deepest way. Let their mornings begin not just with tasks or noise, but with awareness, with quiet awe, with a peace that does not need a reason. Meet them exactly where they are, in the messy, beautiful, incomplete places they try so hard to make sense of. Assure them they are not too much, and never not enough. God, you have been the constant thread through this tapestry of mornings. Each prayer, a thread woven with trembling hands. Hopeful hearts and longing spirits, And though the words may shift and seasons may change, the rhythm remains. I turn to you, and every time I do, you are there, not demanding but welcoming, not withholding but pouring out. Let that rhythm continue when the days are full and when they are quiet, when faith feels strong and when it feels fragile. Let the pattern of turning toward you become the way I walk through this life. Lord, I thank you for how you have walked beside me quietly, faithfully, without needing recognition. You have not asked for perfection, only presence. You have not waited for me to be ready, only willing. And every time I have said, even in the smallest whisper, I need you, you have drawn near without hesitation. Let that be the truth I carry forward, that you are always near, that I am never outside the reach of grace, that nothing I face will ever be too much for you. Father, if I have learned anything in this sacred time, it is that the soul does not rush healing. It listens. It waits. It breathes. And in your presence, it becomes whole, not all at once, but slowly, steadily, honestly. So I do not force a finish. I do not grasp for closure. I allow this moment to simply be what it is, a pause that carries promise, a silence that hums with the sound of trust, a chapter that flows in the next with a peace that does not need punctuation. Let this morning prayer become a part of my rhythm, not as a ritual, but as a relationship, not out of duty, but out of desire to begin each day not with a checklist, but with connection. Let me remember how grounding it feels to begin here, with breath, with truth, with you. And even on days when I rise late or distracted, let the echo of these moments draw me back, gently, like the tide returning to shore. No shame, no pressure, only love. God, I pray this final chapter does not sound like an ending, but like a soft invitation to continue, to carry this posture of surrender into the day, into conversations, into unknowns, to remain open, teachable, grounded in something deeper than circumstance. Let the roots of trust go down so deep that no storm can shake me. Let love become the filter through which I see everything. Let grace be my default, not my last resort. And as the light of morning stretches further across the horizon, I do not rush, I do not chase. I simply walk forward knowing that you go with me, that the same voice who whispered in the stillness now walks beside me in the noise, that the same peace I felt in silence can carry me through the chaos. I do not need to protect it or preserve it. I need only to remember it, to return to it, to live from it. Let it shape my words, direct my steps, and calm my heart. Thank you to everyone who has journeyed through this prayer with me. Your presence, even in silence, has created a sacred space where hearts meet in the presence of something greater. If this time has brought you comfort, clarity, or hope, I invite you to share your thoughts, your reflections, your own prayers in the comments below. Let this not be the end of our connection, but the beginning of a deeper rhythm of faith together. If you found peace here, please consider subscribing to this channel, sharing this prayer with someone you love, and coming back each day to continue nurturing your soul. Every voice matters. Every heart matters. And the world becomes brighter when we rise in faith together. So let this final word not be a goodbye, but a breath of promise, a gentle breeze brushing through the leaves, the hush of light slipping over the edge of morning, the sound of water moving gently over stone, a reminder that grace is always near, and faith is always enough to begin again.